game.
And he turns on it, drives it high into left field toward the line. Kipton going back, and that ball is gone. Home run for Castellano just inside the foul pole.
1-2 pitch to Dill. Got him swinging! And Cinderella has found the slipper.
The defending California League champions are on the air on KBCR. It's time for Inland Empire 66ers baseball. Today's 66ers game is made possible in part by Center Chevrolet, family-owned and operated, right here in San Bernardino. By Loma Linda University Children's Hospital, providing each child with the most advanced care available. By Omnitrans, now with improved routes and better service. By Toyota of Redlands at 1139 West Redlands Boulevard. And by Community Hospital of San Bernardino.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Arrowhead Credit Union Park. This is Mike Sager, and along with Mike Wagenheim, we're happy you could join us for tonight's game between the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes and Inland Empire 66ers. It is Game 2 of a 4-game series. The first-place Sixers leading the South by a half a game over Lancaster. The Sixers are 31-20. That would match their high-water mark of the year. Last night, another wild game. It was the third night in a row the Sixers came from behind to post a victory. Last night, 8-7, thanks to a 4-run seventh inning. After Rancho had scored 3 runs in the top half of the inning to take a 6-4 lead. Gary Harris and Peachy Ballett each had 3 hits for Inland Empire. John Nelson, the big 3-run home run, which culminated the 4-run rally. Peachy Ballett also added 3 RBIs. Brian Lenz, starting for the first time in 10 days, hit his first home run of the year, one of the 2 the Sixers hit last night. The Quakes, meanwhile, off a 3-game home sweep against Elsinore, falling on the road. They have lost 9 of 10 road games. They are 23-27 on the season, and currently 7.5 back of Inland Empire in the South. Tonight, Tim Salmon in the lineup for the Quakes as he begins a rehab assignment, trying to bounce back from a knee problem, some inflammation in his knee. Not sure how many innings he will play tonight. I guess a lot of it depends on how well his knee reacts. There are also a couple of player moves to tell you about involving the Sixers. We will get to that shortly. But first, we're going to talk to Inland Empire pitching coach Dwight Bernard. Kind of a crazy week. The Sixers pitching last week outstanding, and yet the team didn't hit, so they lost 3 out of 4. The last 3 nights, the pitching has not done well, but the bats have come around, and they have won all 3. So we'll be chatting with pitching coach Dwight Bernard in just a moment.
Quitting smoking isn't easy. It takes the average smoker several attempts to be successful. Quitting with the right support can make all the difference. With the support of products like Nicorette Gum, Nicoderm CQ Patch, and Commit Lozenge, you have a better chance of success. Nicorette, Nicoderm CQ, and Commit are safe, effective, and FDA approved to help you fight cravings, irritability, and restlessness while you quit. They've helped millions of Americans quit. You can too. Use as directed. Follow dosing schedule. Individual results may vary. Support program improves chances of success. Could your life use some shaken up? Well, Dairy Queen is here to make your sweet tooth sing with the delicious brownie earthquake treat from DQ. It's a rich, moist Oreo fudge brownie mixed with creamy vanilla soft serve and Oreo cookie crumbles, all covered in hot fudge and marshmallow topping. This is one treat that'll make you tremble with anticipation. The brownie earthquake from Dairy Queen, only at participating DQ restaurants. DQ something different. Oreo is a registered trademark of KF Holdings Incorporated.
Well, we're back here at the Arrowhead Credit Union Park, Quakes and the Sixers in the second game, and our guest tonight, pitching coach Dwight Bernard. You've been around this game a lot longer than I have, and, you know, every time I think I've got it figured out, I realize I don't know much. Team gives up 23 runs in 3 games, they win them all. 4 games before that, they give up 8 runs, they lose 3 of them. Go figure.
Yeah, there's no way to figure that out. It's kind of funny. I mean, you know, that's why we come out here and strap on every day, and you know, you hope for the best of your club one way or the other. If it's a well-played, well-pitched game, you know, sometimes you don't always win those. But, you know, and then the next day you come out and you play like crap, and then all of a sudden, you know, you win the game. You score a ton of runs. Pitching wasn't good. The hitting was great. Defense might not have been very good, but you never know, you know, with young kids. And that's why we play 140-some games. So, we got to find out about the kids, and hopefully we can get them as consistent as possible.
And I guess the key is if the pitching's not getting it done, you need the hitters to come up and get it done and pick up the pace, and vice versa. Because I guess, very seldom are you going to have a long stretch where the pitching's good, the hitting's good, and the fielding's good, especially in the minor leagues.
Yeah, there's occasions that you'll have that. You might go for a week or two or something like that and play real good defense and get the timely hits and the pitching's right there. The plays are being made behind them, and you go through a nice stretch, and which we did, a couple different times here, and then all of a sudden, the hitting wasn't there, the fielding wasn't there, the pitching was, and as of late, the pitching struggled a little bit, and the hitting's picked us up. So it all evens out most of the time. If you've got guys that really work hard and care about the game and trying to learn, well, it's going to be like that pretty much for the rest of the season. We'll have some more stretches where the pitching will be outstanding, and we may not score many runs. And, that's the days that you hope your pitching's real good.
Yeah. I guess we've kind of, the first month and a half or whatever, got so spoiled with as good as the pitching was that all of a sudden you have a few bad games and everyone's scratching their head going, man, what's going on? But, you look at the team's ERA in May, it went from 2.91 to 4.50, but that was still the second lowest in the league.
Yeah, whenever you get into the season a little bit, hitters are going to make some adjustments. They're going to be able to hit the off-speed pitch a little bit better. They're going to find and know different guys' tendencies, and that's really what happened last night with Bobby Livingston. This club, we faced him. He's faced those guys 3 times, and they set on his off-speed pitches, and bingo, we've seen what happened. They scored a few runs. Fortunately, we picked him up, and the bullpen came in and saved the ball game for us. But it's just a part of the process of growing up in baseball. The guys or the hitters going to catch up, and now the pitcher's got to be a little bit smarter than the hitters. May keep them guessing.
Felix, who's going tonight's looked awfully good. He had the bad start in Rancho, but his last 2 starts, 6 innings both times, couple of runs. He said, I guess after the game in Elsinore, he thought that was the best game he pitched this year. Do you agree?
He threw very well, very, very well. I was very pleased. He mixed his pitches very well. He used his fastball to set up his off-speed stuff. And then I think the hitters just were really guessing on him pretty bad because they took some pretty weak swings off of him quite often there, especially toward the end of the ball game whenever he ran out of pitches. But he did a good job. I mean, every time he's been out there, I think he's learned a little bit, and again, that's a little bit of the process that we're trying to get him to go through.
Is he a pretty easy kid to work with, level-headed? It'd be so easy being 18 and everything that's written and said about you to kind of watch the hat size grow a little bit. Is he? From what I've heard, he's a pretty good kid.
Yeah, I think there may be some things that I take for granted that he understands sometimes because he doesn't understand English great, but he's got a real good idea. And I think and know that on occasion he's asked some other guys, hey, what did he mean? What did he say? And then it's kind of got back to me, and then he'll come back and say, yeah, I understand what you said out there. So, he's the type of guy that every pitching coach would like to have. I don't care what level. You get a guy that wants to learn. He's got all the necessities to pitch at the major league level and for a long time. And it's just a matter of him learning when, how to use all of his pitches, a little bit of the growing up process, like I said, the minor leagues. And there's times that he could go out there and pitch at the major league level and do a great job. But again, there's still a lot of little things that he needs to take care of and learn. And, it's, like I said, it's just a learning process. And, some guys take a little bit longer, sometimes it doesn't. But the stuff's there, and he knows that a little bit. But I think, he's been humbled a couple times in the league and understands and is willing to learn. So that's a big key for me is if somebody wants to learn and then, whenever you do talk about it, try to teach it to them, they take it out and use it in the game. That's the biggest thing for me.
Well, Felix Hernandez is about ready to make the start here and face Rancho Cucamonga. The Quakes lineup at the top, first couple of guys looks pretty much the same. Reggie Willits leading off, playing in center field, and then Erick Aybar at short, but hitting third tonight. And DHing will be Tim Salmon. Mike Napoli at first base batting cleanup. David Gates in left field. Greg Porter at third base, followed by number 7 hitter-catcher Ryan Budde. Ranzo Melgarejo in right, and batting ninth at second is B.J. Weed. John Nelson getting his first start of the year at first base tonight. And Matt Rogelstad at second as the first pitch of the game to Willits is high and inside. Juan Gonzalez, Jesus Guzman on the left side of the infield. And in the outfield left to right, Carlos Arroyo, Gary Harris, and T.J. Bohn. Next pitch on the way is low to Willits, so the count 2-0 to the Rancho leadoff batter. Reggie 0 for 5 last night. He is 7 for 33 when he has faced the Sixers this year, and for the season hitting .247. Hernandez' next one is high and outside, so Felix quickly behind the leadoff batter, 3-0. Hernandez 5-2 with a .319 earned run average. He's in his 11th game, number 10 as a starter. And the next one to Willits outside. So a 4-pitch walk from Hernandez, who came in with a strikeout-to-walk ratio 61-16. He has only walked 2 batters in each of his last 2 starts. Felix pitching very well in the last 2 games after he had that rough Sunday afternoon at the Epicenter in Rancho. That was on the 16th. And in that game, he gave up 7 runs, 5 earned, allowed 2 home runs, and lasted just 4 innings. But in his 2 starts since then, Felix has won them both, has posted an ERA of 1.50, and has allowed just 7 hits in 12 innings while fanning 15. He had only struck out 10 batters over his previous 3 starts. So Willits aboard for Erick Aybar, hitting left-handed. And he takes one that gets away from Rivera, but not far enough. Willits will get back to first. 1 ball and no strikes. Aybar, a switch hitter, and after 2 at-bats from the right side against Livingston last night, he was 0 for 2, decided to go hitting left-handed, and promptly singled in his next 2 at-bats against Bobby. When he has hit from this side of the plate, Aybar has hit over 400, and .356 for the year. He would currently be leading the California League in hitting. Hernandez with a high set looks over his left shoulder. The next pitch to Aybar is chopped to short. Gonzalez plays the shorthop, goes back to second for the force out. They are not going to get an out at first base. Pretty tough play as Gonzalez had to throw back across his body. 1 away in the first inning, and here's Tim Salmon. Salmon beginning his rehab assignment. His last game with Anaheim was on the 29th of April at Detroit. He has some inflammation in his left knee. He was 1 for 2 with an RBI single when he faced Inland Empire May the 14th, but he had to take himself out of the game after 2 at-bats. The knee started giving Tim a lot of trouble, and he said after coming out it hurt just as bad as the day he hurt it. He looks at a breaking ball from Hernandez, and the count is 0-1. So we don't really know how many days Salmon is going to be here, and as Tim said, it really depends on how his knee feels tonight. Right-handed hitter, and a long-time Angel Great. Next one is a curveball in for a strike, so Hernandez with a couple of those power curves gets ahead of the count 0-2. Sixers and the Quakes tonight would be the 9th meeting of the year. Inland Empire has won 5 of 8. And 4 of the 8 games have been decided by 1 or 2 runs, Inland Empire winning 3 of those. Aybar takes his lead at first, held by Nelson. Hernandez pitched to Salmon, check swing. Tim went around, down on strikes. Well, Salmon certainly getting a look at a very solid Major League prospect in Hernandez, who has all the stuff to be an incredibly outstanding pitcher. Felix with his 62nd strikeout of the season. Taking a look at the leaderboard, and we can tell you the Sixers pitching staff entering tonight's game led the league in strikeouts. Felix came in 9 strikeouts behind Rancho's Steve Shell. We will see him Thursday. Shell was 70 in leading the league. Mike Napoli hits the first one in the air to right. That's going to drop in front of T.J. Bohn. Napoli hitting it off the hands. Erick Aybar winds up going to third. So Napoli, who had a 4-hit game last night to tie his season high, gets a dunk single the other way here in the first inning. Runners on the corners for the Quakes for David Gates. No team in the California League this year to this point has scored first less often than Rancho Cucamonga has. The Quakes coming off back-to-back losing months. They did not have last year's team, did not finish under 500 in any month. And Rancho this year scoring first just 20 times. And, of course, more often than not, you score first, you're going to win a high majority of your games. Breaking ball to Gates is inside, 1 ball and no strikes. David Gates and Mike Napoli, they would be the engine that makes this Rancho offense go. Gates, who is on pace for 33 home runs, over 120 RBIs, and at the rate he's going, he'd have about 45 doubles. Swings and fouls a pitch back to even the count 1-1. He was 2 for 5 last night with a double. Last night, his 17th multiple hit game of the year. He's had a couple of 5 RBI games this year. And David, at the moment, 3rd in the league with 44 runs batted in. He is 3rd in the league in slugging, and he is the league leader in extra base hits this year. 30 of his 51 have gone for extra bases. Hernandez pitch is inside, and the count 2 balls and a strike. Gates against Felix this year is a perfect 3 for 3, and that would include a home run and a double. Hernandez beat the Quakes in Rancho May the 1st when he threw 6 scoreless innings, allowing 3 hits. Runners on the corners, pitch home to Gates. He turns on one, yanked it early into the Sixer bullpen. Count that 2-2. And then we mentioned his last start against Rancho didn't go nearly as well as he wound up losing. This would be his 5th appearance at home, and Felix at Arrowhead Credit Union Park, 2-1 with an ERA of a little under 3.30. His road ERA just a little bit less. The pitch to Gates, he's out in front of one and drives it high into left field. Arroyo going back, makes the catch in front of the warning track. So the Quakes retired in the 1st inning. There was a base hit, a walk, and 2 runners left. We head to the bottom of the 1st. Rancho nothing, Inland Empire coming ahead.
Toyota of Redlands is pleased to once again be partnering with the California League champion 66ers. Located at 1139 West Redlands Boulevard, Toyota of Redlands has a line of new 2004 Toyota cars and trucks, as well as certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Toyota of Redlands is part of the local community just like you and believes in personal relationships, and they're open 7 days a week. More information is at 793-0300 or on the web at toyotaofredlands.com.
Are you serious about your career? ITT Technical Institute in San Bernardino offers technology and business education for today's workplace with associate and bachelor's degrees in 4 schools of study. ITT Tech has many different class schedules with hands-on learning and applied knowledge. Financial aid is also available for those who qualify. ITT Tech in San Bernardino is located on Briar Drive. More information on your new career is at 800-888-3801. ITT Tech and education for the future.
To make money, you have to take risks. Or do you?
It's not for me. It's not for the weak. If you can't handle it, you can't be there.
What if mathematics could beat the market?
We were able to build a portfolio that was essentially riskless.
The $1 Trillion Bet. Next time on Nova. Mind-altering TV.
Wednesday night at 8 on KVCR TV, Channel 24.
Bottom of the 1st inning, and right-hander Phil Wilson ready to make his 3rd start of the year against Inland Empire. Wilson, a record this year of 2-4 and an ERA of about 7.80. He lost to Inland Empire on April 30th at the Epicenter when he gave up 7 runs in 7 innings, and then had a no decision against the Sixers on May the 16th. He gave up 6 runs in 4 2/3 innings in that game, but all 6 runs came in the 5th inning after Phil had allowed just 2 hits and no run in the first 4 frames. Last time out, suffered a loss against Lancaster. That was at the hangar on the 27th, and in that game, Wilson gave up 3 home runs, 6 runs total, in 5 1/3 innings. Juan Gonzalez, Jesus Guzman, and Gary Harris to start things out, and Wilson's first one is upstairs to Gonzo, 1 ball and no strikes. Gonzalez hitting left-handed. Gonzo coming off a terrific month of May, but really April was just about as good. He takes ball 2 from Wilson, and the count now 2-0. The key, I think, really to the Sixer offense would be this guy and the guy on deck. Pitch in for a strike 2-1, Guzman and Gonzalez. And normally, for the most part, since Guzman has been here, Gonzo has led off, and Jesus has hit right behind him. There's a hard ground ball just past the diving B.J. Weed and on into right center field. Gonzalez has now hit in 11 straight, so that is a new season high. He had a 10-game hitting streak earlier this year. The longest streak on the team is 12. That was done by T.J. Bohn back in April. Well, here comes Guzman. I looked up some numbers today because I was curious to find something out. And I wanted to know how often have Gonzalez and Guzman both gotten on base in the same inning, either with a hit, a walk, hit by pitch, or reaching by air. Wilson from the stretch, pitch to Guzman, is inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Well, entering tonight, Juan Gonzalez and Jesus Guzman had both reached base in the same inning 30 times. The 66ers went on to score in 24 of those 30 innings. Moreover, they scored multiple runs in 17 of the 24 innings in which they scored. They scored at least 3 runs in 13 of those innings and have had 7 innings of 4 runs or more. You talk about the table setters. Gonzo and Guzman have done a terrific job. Outfield straight away, pitch on the way from Wilson, high and outside, 2-0 to Guzman. Jesus hitting .327, still not quite enough at bats or plate appearances, rather, to crack the leaderboard, not yet. That .337 average would be, .327 average would be tied with Stockton's Vince Sinisi for 6th. Breaking ball low and outside, and the count now 3-0. Tomorrow is the morning game at 11 a.m. T.A. Fulmer was the scheduled starter, but because of an injury in Tacoma, it has created a domino effect. T.A. Fulmer has gone to San Antonio to start for them tomorrow. Wilson missing low, so a single and a walk. Well, let's see if that theory holds up. Gonzalez and Guzman both on base in the same inning. And you got Harris, Nelson, and Rogelstad coming up with no score in the first inning tonight. T.A. Fulmer's stay in San Antonio will likely be temporary, but for how long we do not know. Really depends on how long they need him. So Darren Brown is not really sure, at least he wasn't prior to the game, as to who was going to start in tomorrow morning's game. Remember, Ryan Roland Smith inserted in the rotation when Rich Dorman went up, and Smitty will be pitching the game here on Thursday. Gary Harris in the box with 2 on, nobody out in the first. And Wilson's first pitch to him waved out and missed. Pitch was off the outside part of the plate, and it's 0-1. The 66ers are getting a new pitcher, but for those of you who have followed the team for a few years, he will be a new pitcher, but he will not be a new player. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Wilson will look at second. Harris takes outside corner, 0-2. Remember in 2001, the starting shortstop for the first half of the year, Ruben Castillo? Ruben Castillo has now been turned into a pitcher, and he is supposed to arrive in San Bernardino later on tonight. He will not come to the ballpark tonight, but he will be here tomorrow morning. Harris hits a little bouncer off the glove of the first baseman, Napoli, who picks it up, throws to Wilson at first, not in time, and Inland Empire has loaded him up. They're going to score that as an error on Mike Napoli. That is the 4th error made by Napoli, but it does not list his breakdown because Mike has played as many games behind the plate as he has at first base. The Quakes did not make an error in the ballgame last night, but they have been a little bit sloppy in the field this year. They have made the 3rd most errors. That would be their 76th. So here's John Nelson, who had the big homer to put the Sixers ahead last night, and he gets out in front of a breaking pitch, no balls and 1 strike. Quakes will play the infield for 2. So Ruben Castillo, who has never pitched in a game outside of probably extended spring, is going to be thrown right into the frying pan. Next one to Nelson. John takes inside, so the count evens up 1 ball and 1 strike. John Nelson in his last 3 games hitting .558. Make it .538 with a home run and 7 RBIs. Drove in 3 on 1 swing yesterday. Wilson's pitch is inside, 2-1. You know, you talk about the last 3 games. How about the 66er offense? 28 runs, 13 extra base hits, and a team batting average of .427. Wilson back with a 2-1 to Nelson. John with a big cut and foul tipped it. That got a piece of Ryan Budde, who goes down on his knees. The Rancho catcher, though, quick to get up and now walking with a slight limp. I think it may have gotten him off the 5. So the count to Nelson, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Take a look at John's numbers when he has hit this year with the bases loaded. Well, believe it or not, this would be his first plate appearance with the bases loaded. John has driven in 13 runs in his last 10 games. He had a single in addition to his home run last night. Comes in hitting .311, 5 home runs, 27 driven in. Quakes infield back, nobody out in the first. And Wilson's pitch home to Nelson is a chopper hit to third, fielded by Porter. He steps on the bag. That's the only out. So a fielder's choice, 5 unassisted. Gonzalez comes in to score. Guzman is out going to third, and Gary Harris winds up at second base. Inland Empire leads by the score of 1-0. And here's Matt Rogelstad. This part of the order for the Sixers, the 3, 4, and 5 spot, in the last 2 games going into play tonight, so last night's game and Sunday's game against the Mavericks, the numbers are a little sickening. How do you like this? The 3, 4, and 5 hitters for Inland Empire the last 2 games, 17 hits in 25 at-bats. That's a .680 batting average, 11 RBIs, and 10 runs scored. That's not doing too poorly, is it? So for a team that had scored 8 runs in 5 previous games, 28 runs, and nearly a team average of .430 in the last 3. Rogie was 1 for 4 last night. Wilson from the stretch, and the big right-hander brings it home high, 1 ball and no strikes. Phil Wilson, a kid who was a high draft pick way back when, he has battled an assortment of injuries in his career. A lifetime record of 30-21. This would be his 90th minor league appearance. Vogelstad fouls it back, and the count to Matt 1-1. He has made 7 starts against Inland Empire / San Bernardino over the years, going back to 2000 when he pitched for Lake Elsinore. And his career record against San Bernardino teams, 2-2 with a .567 ERA. But he hasn't pitched too poorly when he has pitched here at Arrowhead Credit Union Park. Runners take the lead. Rogelstad, a ground ball to second. B.J. Weed to Aybar. They go to first. Double play. So the Sixers load the bases with nobody out, and they wind up getting just 1 run out of it. Rogelstad hitting into the twin killing to end the inning. That would be the 4th that Matt has hit into this year. So at the end of 1 inning of play, it's the Sixers 1, Rancho Cucamonga nothing.
It was another time and another place in American life. It was radio. This is Ed Roth. I invite you to join me this week as I Remember Radio as we present the bright sounds of Broadway on the Manhattan Merry-Go-Round with songs sung so clearly you can hear every word. That's the Manhattan Merry-Go-Round, Saturday afternoon at 2, and then again Sunday morning at 5, here on KVCR, San Bernardino, Riverside, as I Remember Radio.
From the day they were born, you wanted your child to have the very best. Loma Linda University Children's Hospital shares that same commitment, providing your child with the most advanced care available. Hospitals can be scary. Loma Linda University Children's Hospital provides a cheerful environment for more than 100,000 children each year, and they're the only children's hospital in the Inland Empire. Loma Linda University Children's Hospital. Information is at 800-825-KIDS.
Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries is the proud supporter of 66ers baseball. Lazy Boy has locations in San Bernardino, Riverside, Hemet, and Ontario Mills. Lazy Boy has been a part of America's home since the late 1920s. Lazy Boy's furniture stands the test of time thanks to quality materials, extensive engineering, and rigorous testing. They're committed to building only the quality furniture and back every piece with their word. Lazy Boy. They make rooms that make homes.
1-0 Sixers at the end of one. Last night in the Cal League, Lancaster won its sixth in a row to remain a half game out in the South. They beat Lake Elsinore 5-3, and the Storm has now lost 5 straight. Connor Jackson had 3 hits for the Jethawks. Danny Richard had 2 hits, including a home run. And Mike Watson got the win to go to 4-0. Bakersfield shaded by Celia 5-4. And it was Stockton over San Jose 8-3. Stockton's Adam Fox had 2 singles, a double, and a home run. The Giants of San Jose have now lost 3 straight, and they are 5.5 out in the North Division. Greg Porter leads off, and the left-hander swings away and comes up empty 0-1. He was 1 for 5 last night, Greg, with a little 4-game hitting streak. Hitting .314, 3 home runs, 23 driven in. Fouls the next one back 0-2. One number you notice on Porter, you glance at the stat sheet and you look at the walks and the strikeouts. Greg this year has struck out 40 times and walked 5 in 46 games. Hernandez next one, breaking ball swung on and missed. Strikeout number 2 for Felix. Hernandez said after that start against Lake Elsinore last week, when he shut out the Storm, and it wound up being a combined shutout, only 2 hits allowed, and they were both by Lake Elsinore's Marcus Nettles. Felix said after the game he thought that was the best game he has thrown this year. Ryan Budde now on the box. Hernandez with a fastball high. 1 ball and no strikes to the Rancho catcher. So Felix, without question, the sky is the limit. 1-0 pitch to Budde. Ryan hits a high fly ball into left field toward the line. Carlos Arroyo is over. Now back to his left a step or 2. Makes the catch for the out. 2 up and 2 down for Rancho Melgarejo. Melgarejo last night was involved in undoubtedly the key play of the game. It was in the 7th inning when the Sixers rallied and scored 4. Melgarejo lost a fly ball hit by Juan Gonzalez. He lost it, I think, in the twilight. Right-hander takes a strike. It wound up dropping in for a double. A moment later, Guzman grounded out to drive in a run, but Guzman's ground out would have been the last out of the inning. The next one inside, 1-1. So had it been a little bit earlier or a little bit later in the evening, that ball likely would have been caught. The Sixers would have never had the 4-run inning, and Rancho might well have gone on to win it. Melgarejo swings and doesn't get it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ranzo last night, a tough night at the plate. Struck out 3 times in his 4 at-bats. Hitting .278, the outfield toward right, breaks his bat, grounds it wide at third. Guzman can't find the handle, and it gets behind him and rolls into left field. Gonzalez over to get it. And we'll have to see how they score it. It's going to be an error on Jesus. So Melgarejo is aboard. I mean, that bat just exploded. Felix will do that to you once in a while with his stuff. So it gives B.J. Weed a chance to hit with a runner on base. Rancho Cucamonga trailing 1-0 here in the 2nd tonight. B.J. Weed coming in to pinch hit last night and then stayed in the game and finished up at second base. He pinch hit for Adam Pavkovich in the 8th inning and grounded out. He had hit safely in his previous 9 games on the road. B.J. hitting .296 with a home run and 17 RBIs. And against Inland Empire, hitting .333, 9 hits in 27 at-bats. Standing in from the left side, he bounces it to Rogelstad at second. Matt will fire to Nelson for the out, and that'll take care of the inning. No runs, no hits in there, and a runner left on base. Rancho has left 3 in 2 innings tonight, and at the end of 1.5, it is 1-0 Inland Empire.
Community Hospital of San Bernardino's dedicated team of physicians, nurses, and general health care professionals have been serving the local community for nearly 100 years. They provide medical care that's both state-of-the-art and straight from the heart. They're located on Medical Center Drive between Highland and Baseline. Community Hospital of San Bernardino, the relief specialist. Information is available at 1-877-CHW-DOCS.
Evening, gentlemen. Can I see some ID, please?
But I'm bald.
So is my 2-month-old son.
But I have dentures, see?
You should have brushed harder.
Look, I've got my senior citizen's bus pass right here.
I'm afraid that's not a picture ID, sir.
World War I dog tags.
Sorry, soldier.
You can't be too careful about stopping underage drinking. So here's to everyone who checks ID. Thanks to you, teen drinking is down by 47%.
Picture me with President Coolidge.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, I'm Lisa McCree of California Connected. Join us each week for a look at what's going on in your state.
If people want politics to improve in this state, they have to get more involved in the political process, and they have a weapon to bear on that, and that is the ballot that they cast.
The problems and the solutions.
You get enough people together, and you be that squeaky wheel, you can make your own changes.
Get informed and get involved with California Connected. What state are you in? That's California Connected, Saturday at noon on KBCR, San Bernardino, Riverside.
66ers with an 18-4 record at home and leading 1-0 at the end of 1.5 here at Arrowhead Credit Union Park. The Quakes on the road have lost 17 out of 27. It's been worse than that lately, though, where they have lost 9 of their last 10 road games. Rancho finishing the month of May at 13-16. Inland Empire just the opposite. The Quakes were 1 game under 500 in April. Last year's Rancho team was the only team in the Cal League that did not have a losing month. TJ Bohn, Carlos Arroyo, and Peachy Ballette up against Phil Wilson here in the second. TJ 0 for 3 last night, 4 for 15 on the homestand, couple of doubles and 3 driven in, takes ball 1-1-0. He has hit in 15 of his 20 games at home. Swings away and fouls it off to the right out of play, 1-1. Has a couple of home runs, 2 of his 6 coming against Rancho this year. They were both hit at the epicenter. The two clubs meeting twice there before the Quakes finally came here. There's a shot up the middle, base hit. So the Sixers have had leadoff hits in the first 2 innings tonight. Bohn is aboard, and here comes Carlos Arroyo. Carlos didn't play last night on Sunday in the victory against the Mavericks. Celebrated his 23rd birthday in style. He had 2 hits, knocked in a run, scored twice. And in his last 2 games, he has 3 hits, 4 runs, in just 4 at-bats. Wilson from the stretch, and the Quakes pitch out. A throw down to first by Budde is high. So Bohn easily back head first. 1 ball and no strikes to Arroyo, who comes in hitting .324, no home runs, 13 driven in. Looking at the Quakes' recent road games, and as I told you, they've lost 9 of their last 10 on the road. As Arroyo tops it up the first base line, that will stay fair. Mike Napoli applies the tag, and T.J. Bohn heads down to second base. 1 away for Peachy Ballette. The Quakes' earned run average in their last 10 road games is almost 6.3. They have allowed 71 runs in their last 10 games on the road. Their road ERA for the year is over 5.60. In fact, it's about a run and a half higher than it is at the epicenter. Peachy drove in 3 runs last night, part of a 3-hit game, and he currently is riding a season-high 6-game hitting streak. Hitting .375 during the streak, his average back up over 300 at .301. And Wilson starts him with a curveball over for a strike, 0-1. We've mentioned it a couple of times. Coming up next week, the first-year player draft in Major League Baseball. Seattle not selecting until the 93rd selection because they forfeited picks for signing Eddie Guardado and Raul Ibanez. Ballette chases one in the dirt to fall behind 0-2. Also, because Seattle did not offer salary arbitration to any of their free agents, Mike Cameron, Mark McLemore, Armando Benitez, John Mabry, Arthur Rhodes, and Ray Sanchez, they received no compensation in return. Bob Fontaine is the new Seattle scouting director, formerly in the Angel organization, and as he said, because they are picking so late, you really can't zero in on any one player. They just have to wait and see who's still on the board. Wilson's 0-2 to Ballette is reach for and fouled back out of play. Fontaine, though, said that he has always been a firm believer that the majority of future Major League players are those who come after the third round. And actually, when you look back at some past drafts, there is a lot of truth to that. Saw an interesting story on the Major League Baseball website today, and in particular, they were talking about the 1984 draft. Wilson staring back at Bohn, who's out there at second, and Ballette takes a curveball low, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Sixers up 1-0 in the second. But you can use that 84 draft kind of as a microcosm to illustrate the point. The first player taken of anybody else in that 1984 draft, drafted by the Mets, was outfielder Sean Abner. And then Seattle had the next pick, and they took right-handed pitcher Bill Swift. And he had a pretty good career. But Abner, who spent about 7 years in the big leagues, and he was a lifetime .227 hitter. Shane Mack was the number 11 overall pick that year by San Diego. Texas took outfielder Oda B. McDowell. Outfield straight away, 1-2 the count. Wilson ready, pitches home, and Peachy hits a slow ground ball into left field, base hit. Here comes Bohn around third. David Gates' throw is cut off, and Ballette has knocked one in to make it 2-0 Inland Empire. So a seeing-eye single that slowly got to the outfield. Peachy now has 6 hits and 5 RBIs in his last 3 games. He had gone 11 games without a multi-hit effort until Sunday against the High Desert Mavericks. So his stock is on the rise in recent days. Inland Empire scoring in the first 2 innings off Phil Wilson. And now catcher Rene Rivera, who got a much-needed day off yesterday. Rivera had caught 9 straight games. There had been a day off in between his last off day. Swings and doesn't get it 0-1. Rene Rivera over his last 10 games hitting .125 with a home run and 3 RBIs. 5 for 40 with 8 strikeouts. His average dipping 55 points over that stretch to .269. Wilson a quick check at first. Rivera hits a little bouncer to the right side of the infield. B.J. Weed, his only play is to first base. So Rivera retired for out number 2 as Ballette moves to second base. And that brings us back to Juan Gonzalez, who singled in the first inning and came in to score. You look at some of the disappointments from that 1984 draft, guys who were pretty high draft picks who never really panned out. Cincinnati with the number 5 pick took a pitcher out of Seton Hall, Pat Pasillo. But he only started 18 games in the major leagues between 87 and 88 and never pitched again. The Giants with the number 9 overall pick as Gonzo lifts one into right center field. That's playable. Mel Guerrejo waving off Willits, and he'll put it away. So the inning is over. The Sixers do get another run, though, on 2 hits. No errors and a runner left on base. We will pick up that draft story when we come back. We have played 2, and the Sixers lead the Quakes 2-0.
The good folks at Center Chevrolet are helping to make this broadcast possible. They're located at 1355 Southeast Street, just south of Rancho Road. Center Chevrolet is family-owned and operated. They have a large inventory of new and used vehicles with a variety of models, colors, styles, and options to choose from. They've been selling and leasing to the same customers for over 50 years. For more information, 909-889-8561, or find them on the web at centerchevrolet.com. Chevy, an American revolution. Fans, you can see some of baseball's brightest and best future stars up close and personal at this year's California League versus Carolina League All-Star Game, June 29th at Arrowhead Credit Union Park. There will be a pregame skills competition that will include the always popular Home Run Derby. Tickets for this year's All-Star Game are available now. The 66ers can provide you with more information at 909-888-9922 or on the web at ie66ers.com.
This is Kathleen Taylor, inviting you to join us as we mark the birth anniversary of Marilyn Monroe. That's coming up on the next Word for the Wise.
Tuesday morning at 8:36 on KVCR San Bernardino.
Joined Bobby Livingston for the team lead in victories. In fact, Livingston and Lancaster's Clint Gucher currently leading the league in wins with 6. So Felix would move into a 3-way tie if he can get a win tonight. And off to a 2-0 lead. He'll work to the top of the order. Reggie Willits, Erick Aybar, and then Tim Salmon. Willits, a leadoff walk tonight, was forced out by Aybar. We're talking about that 1984 draft and how oftentimes I think it just goes to underscore how difficult drafting is and the fact there really is no surefire system when it comes to drafting players. And then a lot of times guys who turn out to be pretty good big league players wind up going in the lower rounds. First one is fouled back into the screen, so Willits behind, no balls in a strike. The Giants in 1984 used the 9th overall pick on an outfielder out of the University of Tennessee named Alan Cockrell. Wound up playing 9 major league games. The next one is high, 1 ball and a strike. Montreal took a catcher out of Cal State Fullerton named Bob Caffrey with the 13th overall pick. Never played a big league game. Willits looks at a fastball inside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Then you look at some of the guys who were picked in the later rounds of that 84 draft. Guzman up at third. Willits takes an inside fastball, 3-1. The Chicago Cubs in the second round with the 31st overall pick took Greg Maddux. And then a few picks later, 47th overall in the draft, second round selection, the Atlanta Braves took left-hander Tom Glavine. The 3-1 pitch on the way to Willits is swung on, hit down to third. Guzman stays with it, and from the infield grass goes across to Nelson. One away for Erick Aybar, who reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning. The New York Yankees, who had the 50th overall selection, used it on left-hander Al Leiter. The Houston Astros in the third round with the 71st pick drafted third baseman Ken Caminiti. And then a guy who is still playing, one of the starters for Seattle, drafted in 1984, the 135th overall selection coming in round 6 was left-hander Jamie Moyer. Hernandez into the windup, and the first one to Aybar bends Erick out of the way, and it misses inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Some other guys who were drafted even later that year, outfielder Lance Johnson, 6th rounder to the Cardinals. There's a shot ripped over first. Boy, did Aybar sting that ball. It rolls into the right field corner. T.J. Bohn gets it in. Aybar will stop at second base. Looked like he had thoughts about trying to stretch it, and it's probably better off he didn't. So, Tim Salmon, who struck out against Hernandez on a bunch of hard breaking balls in the first inning, will get a second look at Felix. Shortstop Jody Reed was an 8th-round draft pick of the Red Sox that year. Right-hander John Wetland was drafted in the 12th round by the New York Mets. John Jaha, who enjoyed some productive years in the early to mid-'90s with the Brewers, he was a 14th-round pick of Milwaukee in 1984. And the Cardinals in the 22nd round that year took left-hander Jeff Facero. So just because you don't have an early pick does not necessarily mean that you're not going to get some good players. Salmon waiting, and the first one to Tim is a fastball inside. Tim Salmon, who has been, well, you look at the Angel record books, and Tim Salmon's name is at the top of a lot of lists. Playing his entire career with the Angels. Hernandez pitched to him, is swung on and fouled back, 1 ball and a strike. You know, and it's interesting, Tim Salmon, if you go back to his minor league days, almost didn't get to the big leagues. When he was in the California League back in 1990, back when the Angels had a team in Palm Springs, Salmon, in a game, was hit in the face by a pitch. He suffered a fractured jaw. He had his jaw wired shut for 8 weeks. Next one to him is inside, and the count now 2-1. And it was the second time in as many years that Salmon had suffered a pretty serious beating. In 1989, when he was playing for Short Season Bend, he was hit by a pitch and suffered a broken nose. And he said he spent the time after getting hit in the face by the pitch really doing some soul-searching, trying to figure out if he really wanted to play. Breaking ball from Hernandez inside, and the count now 3-1. Well, Joe Madden, who was a former Angels coordinator of instruction who happened to room with Dickie Thon in the 1970s, had asked Dickie Thon to write Salmon a letter. Thon had been hit in the face by a pitch thrown by Mike Torres back in 1984, and his career really never the same afterward. But he did write a letter of encouragement to Salmon. Hernandez staring at second. That's where Aybar is, and a breaking ball is inside. So Felix, issuing his second walk, loses Salmon here. The Sixers leading 2-0 in the top of the third. And now Mike Napoli. Napoli hit one off the hands and got a single to right field in his first time up. Last night we were talking about the tremendous year that Napoli is having. Mike Napoli, at the moment, has driven in more runs this year than any player in professional baseball, major leagues or minor leagues. 59 runs batted in. He is on pace, if he keeps it up all year, to drive in an astounding 166 runs. Hernandez wheels and goes back to second. Aybar safe as Rogelstadt comes in to take the throw. The ball gets away, but not very far. The league record for RBIs is 172, and that was set by a fellow named Bud Heslett, playing for Visalia back in 1956. Reno's Jose Vidal was the last Cal League player to drive in at least 160 runs when he drove in 162 in 1963. Napoli takes a huge cut at a high inside fastball. This is really reducing the game down to its purest fundamentals. Hernandez, who throws 95 to 98, and Napoli, a big power hitter, swinging as hard as he can. If you even want to extend it past that, I went back and looked through some of the books I have, some Baseball America almanacs. Hernandez with a fastball into Napoli, 1 ball and a strike. Going back to 1946, there have been only 8 players in the minor leagues anywhere who have led their league with at least 150 RBIs. 6 of them drove in at least 160. That's going back to 1946 in all of the minor leagues. Napoli hits a line drive over short. Another pitch on the hands. Erick Aybar racing around third. Salmon going to third. He's going to be safe. And down to second goes Napoli. Boy, that guy is an absolute hit machine. His 60th run batted in. And we still have about 3 weeks until the first half will officially draw to a close. Rancho tonight is playing in its 51st game of the year. Mike Napoli is playing in his 46th, so he has driven in 60 runs in 46 games. And Rancho's deficit has been cut in half now as they trail 2-1. Dwight Bernard going out to the mound to have a word with Hernandez. So Napoli has 6 hits in the 2 games of the series. And in a moment, David Gates will be climbing in to hit. Well, let's see. Napoli, in 2 previous starts that Felix made against Rancho, he had 1 double, 3 strikeouts in 6 at-bats. Gates flied to left field in the first inning tonight. The Quakes this year have hit 50 home runs. That is second to Lancaster. Napoli and Gates have hit 27 of the 50. And then you look at the Quakes' RBI distribution. Mike Napoli and David Gates have driven in entering play tonight. As Hernandez pitched to Gates is low and outside, 1-0. Those two have combined to drive in 103 of Rancho's RBI total, which was 251. So Gates and Napoli have knocked in 41% of all of the Rancho runs. Tying run at third, go-ahead run at second, and the next one to Gates fouled off to the right out of play. So the count now 1 ball and 1 strike. Gates, coming off a very solid month of May, led the team with 11 doubles. He had 6 home runs, 27 RBIs. Only Mike Napoli had more homers and RBIs among the Rancho players. He had 8 and drove in 35. Hernandez won one pitch, and that's hit in the air to right center field. Might be trouble, Bohn and Harris, and neither will get to it. So that's an extra base hit for David Gates. Rancho will get 2 runs out of it, and they take a 3-2 lead here in the top of the 3rd inning. Well, there you have it. Napoli and Gates responsible for driving in the 3 runs that have scored so far in the inning. That would be for Gates his 17th double of the year. He is by far the team leader in that category. And as we mentioned earlier, the league leader in extra base hits. So a rough 3rd inning for Felix Hernandez. After getting Willits on the bounce out, he has allowed the last 4 batters to reach. And Greg Porter, a left-hander, takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Porter, number 6 hitter in the order. The outfield shading him toward right, so playing him to pull. Hernandez with a quick look at second base. Porter gets one on the hands, hits it down the right field line. That ball is going to drop and go to the fence. So here comes Gates around third. He will score. And Rancho with back-to-back doubles, 3 doubles in the inning. And it has turned into a 4-run Rancho frame. Felix trying to get inside on Porter, and he didn't get it quite inside enough. And Greg able to turn on it and yank it into the right field corner.
Number 6, Ryan Budde.
So Ryan Budde, who flied to left field, now has a chance to add to the lead. The Quakes in the month of April hit fewer doubles than any team in the league. And then in the month of May, they had the second most, 60. The pitch to Budde is taken low, 1 ball and no strikes. Of course, we have had a lot of high-scoring games here over the last few nights. The Sixer pitching staff getting dinged around a bit, but the team has hit well enough to where they have won all 3 of those games. Breaking ball on the inside corner to Budde, 1 ball and 1 strike. The team earned run average in the last 3 games entering play tonight was almost 7.7, and the Sixers pitchers had allowed the opposition to hit .355. The team ERA going up from .355 to .380 in just 3 nights. Little bouncer hit up along third. That'll be trouble if it stays fair. Guzman's going to let it roll. It stays fair, and they're going to say fair. The ball got all the way to the bag and then finally started to veer foul, but I think it hit third base before that. So it will be a little infield single for Ryan Budde, and Greg Porter advancing to third base. So the Quakes already with 4 runs in the inning. That is 6 consecutive Rancho batters who have now reached. And here's Ranzo Melgarejo. He is the 8th man to hit in the inning for the Quakes. Felix allowing as many runs. Well, actually, he'll take that back. He's allowed twice as many runs this inning as he allowed over his last 2 starts, giving up just 2. And a breaking ball to Melgarejo is in there for a strike. Ranzo backs out, has a look down at manager Bobby Meacham. Melgarejo has hit about 70 points better on the road this year. The strike 1 pitch is hit on the ground to second. Rogel stab to Gonzalez. He goes to Nelson, who stretches out to complete the double play. So 4-6-3 is how you score it. Melgarejo hitting into his 8th double play of the year. And the inning finally comes to an end, but not before Rancho gets 4 runs in the inning, 5 hits, and that included 3 doubles. So at the end of 2.5, it's now the Quakes 4 and Inland Empire 2.
Hello, it's me again to tell you about the wonders that is me. The Verizon Super Pages, the spicy jalapeno of the Yellow Pages world. Tonight, let's be play chic. I have poodles of clothing stores and salons. You can even get some very dark, mysterious sunglasses. Then we can hit the night spots all over town. I'm the Yellow Pages that knows where to boogie. And I'm also available on your cell phone and online on superpages.com. So you can open up the Verizon Super Pages phone book if you want to take a big swig from the flask of life.
Online, on your cell, in the book, the Verizon Super Pages. Wherever you are, there it is.
There's a saying in baseball that to play well, you have to look good from head to toe. That's why all Major League and Minor League Baseball players wear caps made by New Era Cap Company. Behind every New Era flag is a storied past of passion, integrity, and pride. Passion for detail and excellence, integrity that's reflected in a high-quality cap, and pride for the successes and relationships born from passion and integrity. More information on New Era caps can be found at neweracap.com. New Era Cap Company. It's not a cap, it's a flag.
If you haven't been listening to Fresh Air, you've missed the stories behind two of pop music's most inscrutable songs. Robert Plant told us about writing Stairway to Heaven. Jimmy Webb described writing MacArthur Park. You'll hear the stories behind all kinds of songs on Fresh Air. I'm Terry Gross. Join us.
Weekday afternoons at 3 on KVCR, San Bernardino, Riverside.
This would be the 19th time in the last 26 games that Inland Empire has allowed an opponent to score at least 3 runs in an inning. They allowed that to happen just 9 times in their first 25 games. So they are trailing the Quakes 4-2 as we go to the bottom of the third. Sixers, though, have scored in the first 2 innings against Phil Wilson. Although, remember, in the first inning, they had the bases loaded to start the frame. Nobody out. And wound up getting just the 1 run. So here in the third, it'll be Jesus Guzman, Gary Harris, and John Nelson. Ryan Budde going out to have a word with Phil Wilson before he gets ready to work. Guzman with a first-inning walk. And when he got that walk, Jesus extended a rather impressive streak. He has now reached base safely in 20 consecutive games. He came in tied for the 3rd longest such streak in the league. T.J. Bohn, who had that earlier 21-game on-base streak, the longest in the league, as Guzman takes a strike 0-1, although Erick Aybar, when he doubled in the top of the inning, extended his streak to 21, so he has tied Bohn for the longest in the league this year. Guzman takes a strike, so he's quickly behind 0-2. During his on-base streak, Jesus hitting over 340 with an on-base percentage of better than 470, and he swings at one up in the zone, striking out on 3 pitches. First strikeout for Phil Wilson, and the first time in 3 innings he has retired the leadoff hitter. That'll bring up Gary Harris, who reached on an error in the first inning. Gary Harris has had back-to-back 3-hit games. Gary with 2 singles and a double last night. It's the second time in his career that he has done that. He had back-to-back 3-hit games, one time when he was in Wisconsin last year. And Gary, 6 for 8 in those 2 with 5 runs. Looks at a ball, 1-0. Matter of fact, his 5 runs in 2 games equals the number of runs he had scored in 15 games previous. He takes a strike from Wilson, 1-1. Outfield playing Gary toward left, so shading him the other way. Wilson's pitch is outside, 2-1. Down on the farm last night, AAA Tacoma losing to the Dodgers AAA Las Vegas team 11-9. Off-speed pitch on the outside corner, 2-2. Matt Thornton really struggling this year. The former San Bernardino left-hander who was a 14-game winner when he pitched here a few years ago took the loss last night. Harris chopped it to the right side, but over to get it is B.J. Weed. He'll go to first for the out. 2 up and 2 down in the third for John Nelson. Matt Thornton went 5 in the 3rd innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, and walked 5. Jared Herman came out after Thornton and pitched the rest of the 6th inning, but he gave up 3 runs, 3 hits, and hit a batter. Jamal Strong had an RBI and a steal last night at the plate for the Rainiers. Pitch is inside, and that hit Nelson. So John, who got the fielder's choice RBI in the 1st inning, will take his base after getting plunked by Wilson with 2 outs here in the 3rd. That's the 5th time that Nelson has been hit this year. That would be the 6th man that Wilson has hit. And here's Matt Rogelstad, who hit into a double play to end the 1st inning. Jose Lopez had a home run for Tacoma last night. Hiram Bocachica, the right fielder, hit an eighth-inning grand slam. First pitch to Rogie is outside, 1-0. Sixers down 4-2 here in the third with 2 out. Double-A San Antonio finally got a victory. I think they had lost 8 straight. They beat Midland 6-2 last night, and right-hander Juan Donier had a pretty good outing for him. Wilson's pitch home to Rogelstad, in there for a strike. Donier went 5 innings, gave up just 1 run on 5 hits, and had a strikeout. Jared Thomas pitched the next 3 innings, gave up a run on a solo home run. Wilson, a look over at first base. Nelson with his lead, held on by Napoli. And the 1-1 to Rogelstad, off-speed hit on the ground to short. Aybar will shovel the weed. 6-4 on the putout, and the Sixers gone without scoring in the third inning after getting runs in the first 2. 1 runner left. We go to the fourth. Wags will be with you for the middle 3 tonight. And our score here in San Bernardino is the Quakes 4 and the 66ers 2.
You know, baseball players aren't the only people who rely on a good night's sleep to maintain peak performance. We all do. That's why the right mattress is vital when you're shopping for a new bed. Banner Mattress has sold nearly 2 million mattresses since it opened in 1926. Why have so many people relied on Banner Mattress? Because they still make their own beds using old-world craftsmanship that was the philosophy of the company's founder. Banner Mattress has 3 San Bernardino locations on South E Street, Hospitality Lane, and South I Street.
If your home team is hungry for a mealtime winner, there's Carl Budde. With 9 flavors like smoked turkey, honey ham, and corned beef, they've got taste and variety that won't strike out. Plus, Carl Budde offers the convenience that keeps meal preparation time from going into extra innings. Original Carl Budde is available in 2.5-ounce, 8-ounce, and 1-pound sizes at your local grocer. Carl Budde, a real slice of life.
Hi, it's Lynn Rossetto Casper. This week we meet a chef who was waylaid in Bangkok 15 years ago and went on to write the Bible of Thai food. And you, Stearns, what's up?
Lynn, we're happy to report that the Fritos pie is alive and well in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
So relieved. Join us. That's the Splendid Table, the show for people who love to eat.
Sunday morning at 10 on KVCR, San Bernardino.
Well, Felix Hernandez has been touched up for 4 runs on 6 hits through the first 3 innings of play. He will face B.J. Weed out of the 9-hole, and then the Quakes will turn it over to the top of the order for Reggie Willits and Erick Aybar. Here's Weed, who grounded out with a man on to end the second inning. Left-handed hitter facing Hernandez with the corner infielders, Guzman and Nelson drawn in. Guzman about a step onto the infield grass. Nelson even with the bag. Hernandez delivers a fastball outside. 1-0 to Weed. Hernandez has not surrendered more than 5 earned runs in a ball game this year. Here's the 1-0. Slap to the shortstop Juan Gonzalez on 2 hops. Fields cleanly. Throws to first for the putout. 6-3. That'll bring up Reggie Willits, who walked and was forced out in the first inning and grounded out to the left side in the third inning. Hernandez gave up 5 earned runs, 7 runs total on 8 hits to Rancho. Back on May the 16th, took the loss in that ball game that the 66ers lost by a score of 9-6. Felix 3 walks, 3 strikeouts in that game, his worst performance statistically so far this year. First pitch to the left-handed hitting Willits is a ball up high, 1-0. Willits held hitless yesterday, 0 for 5 with his strikeout as Hernandez delivered a slow and Willits is able to check his swing. 2-0. Willits struck out late in the ball game and had a few words for the home plate umpire, Jeremy Barb. Slammed his bat onto the plate in frustration. But he has not gone more than 2 straight games without a hit this year. Hernandez with a fastball inside belt high. 3-0. Willits does not walk a whole lot. He drew a walk on Saturday. That was his only walk in his last 10 games. He's only drawn 3 base on balls in his last 19. He takes outside for ball number 4 here. So 2 walks for him. 23 on the year. That'll bring up Erick Aybar. Third free pass issued by Felix Hernandez. Aybar 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored. He also reached on a fielder's choice. Aybar, a .356 hitter, hitting .360 with runners on base this year. Guzman, respecting the speed and the bunting ability of Aybar, is playing just a shade onto the infield grass at third base. Middle infield at double play depth. The outfield shaded right. Runner was going, slapped to the shortstop. Gonzalez fields it from the side, throws to first. The only option with Willits running all the way. 6-3, Willits advances to second base, and now with 2 outs, it'll bring up Tim Salmon. Salmon has struck out and walked in this ball game. He scored in the third inning on the 2-run double by David Gates. Sixers went on top 1-0 in the first inning. An RBI fielder's choice by John Nelson, scoring Juan Gonzalez. Hernandez into the stretch, facing Salmon here on the first night of his rehab assignment. Hernandez delivers home, swing and a miss on a fastball thigh high. 0-1. Sixers plated another run in the second inning. An RBI single by Peachy Ballette to left field that chased home T.J. Bohn. But the Quakes responded with 4 runs last inning. That's where we stand right now, 4-2 Rancho on top. Hernandez set. He'll take a peek at Willits at second base, a decent lead for him. Here's the 0-1 on the way to Salmon, foul back to the on-deck circle. So Hernandez up in the count at 0-2. Salmon last played a big league game on April the 29th at Comerica Park in Detroit, went 0 for 4 in that game with a walk and a strikeout. Faces 66ers in his other rehab game a few weeks back at the Epicenter. Only lasted 2 at-bats before he pulled himself from the ballgame. More inflammation in that knee. Hernandez tried to go backdoor and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Salmon. Gary Harris is center fielder, about 15 steps over and to right. Carlos Arroyo fairly deep out in left field. Salmon carrying a white bat in his hands, knees slightly bent. Rivera sets up in the outer part of the plate. That's where it is, but it was down low. Check swing, and he went around. Rivera applies the tag. So Hernandez gets Salmon to chase on a bad ball. Second time he has fanned the Angel great. And the third strikeout overall for Hernandez. No runs for the Quakes in the inning, no hits, but a walk and a strikeout. 1 runner left on base. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th inning. 66ers will try to play catch-up, down by a score of 4-2.
The SPC Smart Yellow Pages is the most popular Yellow Pages in San Bernardino County. Why? Because the SPC Smart Yellow Pages is complete, trusted, and reliable. Omnitrans is working hard to provide the public with a level of service that's bigger and better. A listing of their system-wide improvements is in your bus book if you're a current Omnitrans rider or on their website. Omnitrans operates the nation's first gasoline-electric hybrid buses and over 100 buses powered by clean natural gas 7 days a week. Omnitrans will get you to work, school, or wherever life takes you with improved routes and better service. More information is at 800-966-6428 or on the web at omnitrans.org. Be smart, be safe, Omnitrans.
This is Kathleen Taylor, inviting you to join us as we mark the birth anniversary of Marilyn Monroe. That's coming up on the next Word for the Wise.
Tuesday morning at 8:36 on KVCR San Bernardino.
2 runs on 3 hits through three frames against Quake right-hander Phil Wilson. It'll be T.J. Bohn, Carlos Arroyo, and Peachy Ballette due up here for the 66ers. Taking a look at the Cal League scoreboard tonight, the San Jose Giants leading the Stockton Forts 4-1. San Jose with a 3-run second inning. The Forts have been limited to 2 hits through the first 3 innings in that one. Top of the third, the Lancaster Jethawks locked in a battle with the 66ers for first place in the South. On top of the Lake Elsinore Storm, 4-0. Just 1 hit for the Storm through the first 2 innings. Lancaster got all 4 of their runs in the top of the second inning. That game being played at the Diamond in Elsinore. The Storm right now in the midst of a 5-game losing streak. Meanwhile, the Jethawks have won 6 in a row. Here's T.J. Bohn to lead things off. Visalia and Bakersfield are scoreless in the top of the third. T.J. Bohn reached on a single to center field and came around to score, driven in by Peachy Bowlett. First pitch in there for a called strike to TJ, 0-1 the count. Modesto leading High Desert 5-1. They're in the top of the fourth inning. TJ slaps one into center field, and it will fall in front of Reggie Willits for a base hit. Second hit of the ball game for TJ Bohn. That will bring up Carlos Arroyo.
The left fielder, number 11, Carlos Arroyo.
For TJ, that is his 15th multi-hit game of the year. Here's Arroyo coming up. Grounded out to the first baseman, Michael Napoli, in a slow roller up the line back in the second inning. Carlos coming in, hitting .324, got off to a very slow start this year before turning it on. Phil Wilson comes set. The leg kick and the pitch on the way outside. Snap throw down to first base. Sliding back in safely is TJ Bohn. 1-0 the count. Carlos had an RBI back on Sunday, only his second in 14 games. Does have the highest road average on the team, hitting .333 away from San Bernardino. Soft grounder hit to the second baseman, Weed, fielding and ranging toward his left, and he'll throw Arroyo out at first base. Moving up to second on the play is TJ Bohn, the out-recorded 4-3. That'll bring up Peachy Bowlett. He drove in the second 66ers run in the second inning. Peachy's been on a tear as of late. That single extended his hitting streak to 7 games. He is now 10 out of his last 25. He's got 5 runs driven in his last 2 games plus tonight. Now 6 hits in his last 2+ games. Bowlett taking a few swings before jumping in the right-handed batter's box. Erick Aybar, the shortstop, trying to keep TJ Bohn close to second base. TJ does have decent speed for a big guy. Wilson delivers home. Bowlett hits it hard to the shortstop. Aybar almost bobbled, now recovers, throws to first for the putout. And TJ has to stay put at second base. Out number 2, TJ still in scoring position for Rene Rivera. Rene in his last 10 games just 5 for 40 with a home run and 3 RBIs in that time. He has struck out 8 times in his last 41 at-bats. 0 for 1 with a ground out in his only at-bat tonight. Rivera has seen his average drop 55 points over the last 10 games. Hitting .269 coming into play tonight. Wilson set at the chest, looking back towards second. Bohn with a modest lead. Rivera hits one to the second baseman. Weed comes charging in, off-balance throw to first base. They get Rivera by playing, and the 66ers cannot bring TJ Bohn home here in the 4th. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and a man left in scoring position. We played 4 complete here at Arrowhead Credit Union Park. It's the Quakes 4 and the 66ers 2.
San Bernardino, you could use a change. Is it time for you to change your motor oil and filters? The Public Services Department has free used oil and filter collection containers available to City of San Bernardino residents. Containers are available at City Hall at 300 North D Street. Please bring a valid ID and your current water bill, only 1 of each per household. Used motor oil may be taken to any certified recycling center in San Bernardino. For a complete listing, the number is 1-888-OIL-DROP. This program is funded by a grant from the California Integrated Waste Management Board.
How has Car Talk lasted so long?
Maybe it has something to do with our relentless optimism.
Well, I have a suspicion that if you rebuild the transmission, you might get up over the 10-mile-per-gallon mark.
We're putting the car in the ferry to...
Oh, if you're lucky, it might fall off.
We're Click and Clack Tappet Brothers. Join us for Car Talk.
Tune in 3 times each weekend on KVCR, San Bernardino, Riverside.
As California continues to grow, so does the important underground infrastructure. Just about anywhere you dig, there could be an underground facility lying in wait. How do you avoid hitting them? The easy way, the legal way, is Dig Alert. It's the one-call notification center that supports all of Southern California. It's a simple process to help and avoid the costly errors of cutting fiber optic cables to the hazard of damaging power lines or gas pipes. For more information before you dig, 1-800-227
Felix Hernandez will try to hold the fort down here in the 5th inning. He'll face Michael Napoli, David Gates, and Greg Porter with the Quakes up by a score of 4-2. Here's Napoli out of the cleanup spot, leading off this inning. He's 2 for 2 with a couple of base knocks and a run scored. He's now hit safely in his last 15 road games, going all the way back to April the 10th, just 3 days into the season, the longest such streak in the Cal League. With those 2 hits tonight, he's now had 6 multi-hit performances in his last 7 games. Hernandez into the windup, delivers a breaking ball, belt high for a called strike, 0-1. Napoli carries a 6-game RBI streak into action tonight. 12 runs driven in his last 6 contests. Hernandez with a fastball in the outside corner, 0-2. Napoli with a couple of recent 4 RBI performances. Hernandez delivers the 0-2, left it in the middle of the plate. Napoli fouls it off harmlessly out of play right side. 4 runs on 6 hits for Rancho, 2 runs on 4 hits for Inland Empire. 66ers trying to hold on to first place tonight. If things stay on pace at the Diamond in Elsinore, the Jethawks will run away with that ball game. Napoli fouls it just over our heads. Count remains 0-2. 66ers currently are a half game ahead of the Jethawks in the South Division as we start to head down the home stretch here in the first half. Hernandez takes a step back now into his windup. The 0-2 as Napoli reaches out, extending his bat and fouls it out of play right side. So this will be now the 4th pitch that Hernandez has delivered to Napoli with an 0-2 count. Napoli with 2 home runs back on Sunday. His first multi-home run game in about a year, and Hernandez gets him swinging. Got him to chase a bad ball. We saw that with Salmon at the end of the 4th inning. As Rivera applies a tag for the strikeout, that's number 4 now for Hernandez. That'll bring up David Gates. Ball looked like it was coming in, belt high, and the bottom just dropped right out from underneath it. Napoli swinging on top. Here's Gates with a 2-run double and a long fly out to left field. Base is empty, 1 out. Hernandez offers up, swing and a miss on a high fastball. Gates on about 3/4 of the way around and tried to pull back. Hernandez, in the last inning plus, has done a good job of getting ahead of the hitters. Got behind in the 3rd and it cost him. Delivers an inside pitch to Gates. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gates now with 46 runs batted in on the year. Came in 3rd in the Cal League in RBIs entering play tonight. Fastball thigh high for a called strike, and Felix ahead at 1-2. Gates 2 for 5 yesterday with a double before being replaced in the 9th inning. His 17th multi-hit game here in 2004. Fastball in the outside corner, and Gates able to get a piece of it and foul it off. Count remains 1-2. Gates did not strike out last night. That broke a 7-game strikeout streak for him. He had 9 Ks in his last 7 before last night. The 1-2 roped into right field. Bohn arranging, and he cannot catch up with it. That'll be a base knock for David Gates, his 2nd of the ball game. He's a 1-out base runner, and that'll bring up Greg Porter. Porter claiming an RBI double and a strikeout. Gates now with 5 multi-hit games in his last 8 contests. The Quakes, as a team this year, have lost 9 out of their last 10 games on the road. They're hitting .287 on the road this year, about 11 points higher than at the epicenter in Rancho. Hernandez delivers outside to the lefty Porter. Rancho averaging about a 1.5 better away from home. They also hit more home runs away from the epicenter as well. Waiting on deck is Ryan Budde. 1 out, runner on first base. Sixers down 4-2. There goes the runner. Ball chopped over the first baseman Nelson's head. He's got 1 play. It's to first base. No, it's safe. Hernandez did a good job hustling over there to cover. Nelson had to spin completely around to get a decent throw to first base, and Porter legged it out. Moving up to second is Gates. That'll bring up Ryan Budde. Budde with an infield single that hit the third base bag as Jesus Guzman tried to let it roll foul. It's 1 for 2 with a single and a fly out. Small lead off of second base for Gates. Hernandez looks back, now delivers home, and Budde was way out in front of it. 0-1. Eight hits in the ball game for the Quakes through 4 1/3. Budde handling the catching duties for Rancho tonight. He split time behind the dish with Jared Abruzzo this year. Rancel Melgarejo in the on-deck circle for Rancho. The late kick in the 0-1 on the way. Off-speed pitch in there for a called strike. 0-2. Budde is 6 for 23 against 66ers pitching this year. He just drove in 2 runs. A couple of doubles against the 66ers staff. Sits safely now in 5 of his last 6 games, holding his bat away from his body. Rivera sets up right down the middle, and that's where the pitch is, and they got him swinging. Second strikeout in the inning for Kid K, Felix Hernandez. 5th time he has gotten a Quake to whiff. Here is Rancel Melgarejo. 0 for 2. He's reached on an error and grounded into a double play. Melgarejo has now hit into 8 twin killings this year. Hernandez trying to keep it within reach here for Inland Empire. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Sixers down by a deuce. First offering to Melgarejo, knee high for a called strike. 0-1. Melgarejo only 4 extra base hits in his last 26 games. 5 of his extra base hits came in the first 8 games. Hasn't had much after that. The 0-1, slapped foul, third base side, into the 66ers dugout. So Felix once again ahead in the count at 0-2. B.J. Weed in the on-deck circle for Rancho Cucamonga. Inland Empire was up 2-0 after a pair of innings. The Quakes responded with 4 runs in the top of the 3rd to take the lead. That's where we're at now. Runners on first and second, 2 outs. Hernandez with a couple looks back to second base. Now delivers a fastball, 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, dropped by Rivera, and he'll throw down to first rather. And Felix Hernandez strikes out the side here in the 5th inning. Although he does allow 2 hits, no damage comes of it. No runs to 2 singles, no 66er errors, and a couple runners left on base. 6 strikeouts for Hernandez through 5 innings. 66ers coming to bat, trailing 4-2.
Once again, 66ers baseball is partnering with the San Bernardino County Regional Parks. With 10 regional parks in the county, San Bernardino County Regional Parks offers camping, fishing, swimming, hiking, and a variety of special events and activities throughout the year. Catfish season runs through September, and the water parks are open from Memorial Day weekend through Labor Day weekend. For more information on the park near you, call the number at 909-38-PARKS.
The good folks at Center Chevrolet have one simple philosophy: to exceed expectations in every area as it pertains to their customers' needs. Center Chevrolet is family-owned and operated. This allows them to offer you their personal guarantee that your experience will be pleasant and you'll be greeted by a courteous and knowledgeable staff member. Center Chevrolet, serving the Inland Empire for over 50 years, is located at 1355 South East Street and on the web at centerchevrolet.com. Chevy, an American revolution.
This is Dan Bernstein, columnist for the Press Enterprise. Whether you're commuting to work or commuting with a cup of coffee, I invite you to listen to my commentary, Bernstein with a Twist, every Tuesday at 6:06 and 8:06 in the morning on KVCR 91.9 FM.
Bill Wilson will remain in the ball game for Rancho as we head now to the bottom of the 5th inning. The 66ers trailing the Quakes by a score of 4-2. Wilson will face the top Now the 66ers order Juan Gonzalez, Jesus Guzman, and Gary Harris. Gonzo 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored. He has extended his hitting streak now to 11 games, his longest here in 2004. He now has 65 hits on the year, tied for third in the Cal League coming into play tonight. Has really roughed up Rancho pitching this year. 17 for 38 against the Quakes staff. It's around a 450 average. He shows bunt, pulls back, and the pitch by Wilson was outside. 1-0 the count. Wilson looking in. The long, lanky right-hander delivers the 1-0, and it's in there for a called strike. 1-1 the count. Gonzalez coming in with a 330 average into play tonight. Wilson reaches back and delivers in there for a called strike, 1-2. Gonzo hitting 375 over his last 15 games. Third baseman Porter playing up. That pitch almost hit Gonzalez as he turns his back and gets out of the way. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 66ers trying to mount a comeback here. Here's the pitch on the way, swung on. One hopper to the first baseman, Napoli behind the bag. He'll flip to Wilson covering, and they beat Gonzalez by a half step down the line. First out of the inning, it'll bring up Jesus Guzman. Looks like it might be one of these games that goes down to the wire. It's been like that for the 66ers lately. 6 out of the last 7 games have been decided by either 1 or 2 runs. Guzman with a walk and a strikeout. First offering by Wilson is a called strike at the knees. 0-1 the count. Guzman now has a 20-game on-base streak with that walk earlier. The 0-1 low, 1 ball and 1 strike. He has hit 24 for 71 during those 20 games. The 1-1 pitch, breaking pitch inside on Guzman as he bends out of the way. 2 balls and 1 strike. Guzman snapped a 6-game hitting streak last night. 2-1 pitch, lifted into center field. Willits took a step back, now coming on, over to his left underneath it, and squeezes it for the second out of the inning. Here comes Gary Harris. Gary, coming off a pair of 3-hit games, is 0 for 2 tonight. He's reached on an error and has grounded out both times the ball has been hit to the right side. The Quakes doubling up the Sixers in both runs and hits. 4 runs on 8 hits for Rancho, 2 runs on 4 hits for the 66ers. Wilson goes into his windup and delivers low. 1-0 the count. Bases empty, 2 outs. The 1-0 pitch in there for a called strike, 1-1. Final score from Cleveland tonight in 12 innings. The Rangers over the Indians 6-5. That's the scoring in the top of the 12th for the victory. 1-1 fastball just above the belt. Called strike, 1-2. Ramirez the winner, White the loser. Cordero saved number 17. 2 home runs in the ballgame for Barajas. The 1-2 outside by about an inch. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gary Harris. The Royals over the Tigers tonight, 5-3. The 2 teams combined for 21 hits. The 2-2 to Harris, swung on, sharp to the first baseman, Michael Napoli. He will outrace Harris to the bag. 1-2-3 inning here for Phil Wilson. The first time he has retired the Sixers in order tonight. We've played 5 complete here in San Bernardino. 4-2 in favor of Rancho Cucamonga.
Toyota of Redlands is pleased to once again be partnering with the California League champion 66ers. Located at 1139 West Redlands Boulevard, Toyota of Redlands has a line of new 2004 Toyota cars and trucks, as well as certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Toyota of Redlands is part of the local community just like you and believes in personal relationships, and they're open 7 days a week. More information is at 793-0300 or on the web at toyotaofredlands.com.
I'm Scott Schaefer, host of the California Report, and I hope you'll join me for our next program. The Golden State often takes center stage in politics, policy, and culture. Each day, our journalists in Sacramento, San Francisco, the Central Valley, and Southern California report and analyze the news. So please join us for the California Report weekday mornings at 6:50 here on KBCR, San Bernardino, Riverside.
Which Yellow Pages do more people in San Bernardino County use? The SBC Smart Yellow Pages, of course. They're online at smartpages.com.
The 66ers this year, on average, have provided Felix Hernandez with about 6.5 runs in support. Second highest among all 66ers currently in the rotation. They've only given him 2 runs through 5 innings. Felix has yielded 4 runs, all of them earned on 8 hits. He'll face B.J. Weed out of the 9-hole before Reggie Willits and Erick Aybar hit for the Quakes here. Bobby Meacham trots out to the third base coach's box, a skipper for the Quakes, and here comes B.J. Weed stepping in. 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts. Derek Jeter a homer twice tonight. The Yankees defeat the Orioles 8-7. The Orioles mounted a furious comeback in the 9th inning, scoring 4 runs to pull within 1. They out-hit the Yankees in that one, 14-13, but still lose. Mike Mussina, the winner, he's 6-4. Sidney Ponson takes a loss at 3-6. Here's a windup in the pitch by Hernandez, way upstairs, 1-0, with the third baseman Guzman playing in. Mariano Rivera saved number 19. Jorge Posada hit a home run. Number 9, Hideki Matsui, also hit his 9th. That ball chopped to the first baseman, John Nelson. Easy put out at first base unassisted. We'll go back to the top of the order here for Reggie Willits. Other scores in the American League tonight. The Twins pound the Devil Rays 16-4. 14 hits for Minnesota. Silva the winner, Abbott the loser. Plenty of home runs in that ball game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 home runs between the two teams in that one. Hernandez into his windup, delivers in there for a called strike to Reggie Willits. Willits has walked twice, a rarity for him. He's also grounded out. Pitcher warming up for Inland Empire. Down the left field line, the 0-1 pitch low. 1 ball and 1 strike. That's right-hander David Vian. The Red Sox and the Angels are in the top of the 4th inning. Check swing by Willits. He went around. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Red Sox leading the Angels 2-1. Bartolo Colon getting the ball tonight for Anaheim. Kevin Millar has gone deep in that one. His 4th for the Red Sox. 1 out, nobody on. Here's the 1-2 on its way. Swing and a miss. Willits chased a pitch that was around his shins. Strikeout number 7 for Felix. That'll bring up Erick Aybar.
Number 3, Erick Aybar.
Felix in his last 2 outings has struck out 7 and 8 respectively. His season high is 10. Here's Aybar. Erick Aybar swings and fouls the first one off toward the 66ers bat boy. 0-1. Aybar is 1 for 3, a double, a ground out. He reached on a fielder's choice and scored a run. Toronto leading Seattle 4-2. That game in the top of the 4th. A swinging bunt from Aybar, and he goes through it. 0-2. Clinton is shot. The starter tonight for the Mariners, former Stampede hurler. That's his first game in the big leagues. Hernandez into the windup. Ahead of Aybar, 0-2. He left one upstairs, and it's hit on the fly into center field. Harris going back about 15 steps, and he's there to record the final put out of the inning. So Felix sets the Quakes down in order for the first time tonight. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no men left on base. Felix has struck out 7 through 6 innings, but his 66ers trail the Quakes 4-2 with Inland Empire coming to bat.
Your grandparents came here. Your parents came here.
Here comes Roger Maris in to score, and the Quakes pulling the second of the double.
Now it's your turn.
Number 3,000 for one of the great players of all time, George Brett.
Cooperstown, New York, a tradition of excellence for 7 decades. Be a part of it. For information, call 1-888-Hall of Fame.
From the day they were born, you wanted your child to have the very best. Loma Linda University Children's Hospital shares that same commitment, providing your child with the most advanced care available. Hospitals can be scary. Loma Linda University Children's Hospital provides a cheerful environment for more than 100,000 children each year, and they're the only children's hospital in the Inland Empire. Loma Linda University Children's Hospital. Information is at 800-825-KIDS.
Which Yellow Pages do more people in San Bernardino County use? The SBC Smart Yellow Pages, of course. They're online at smartpages.com.
66ers coming to the plate here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Trailing by a score of 4-2, John Nelson, Matt Rogelstead, and T.J. Bohn will face Bill Wilson. Update on Clinton Najad in that ball game against Toronto. Najad has pitched 2 innings so far. He's allowed 2 runs, both of them earned on 2 hits. He has not recorded a strikeout as of yet and has walked 3. He's faced 11 batters so far. Bill Wilson going up against John Nelson to lead things off here. Nelson with an RBI, fielder's choice, and he got hit by a pitch last time around. Bohn continues to warm in the Sixers bullpen. The A's on top of the White Sox 4-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Loaiza versus Redmond tonight. Paul Konerko, home run number 11. Jermaine Dye, his 10th round tripper in that one. Nelson way out in front of the first pitch, swings and misses, 0-1. Everybody at normal position here defensively for Rancho. Nelson with a slightly open stance, the 0-1 pitch in there for a called strike, and Nelly down in the count at 0-2. John in his last 3 games plus tonight, hitting .500 at 7 for 14. Swing and a miss by Nelson. Ball dropped by Budde, but he will apply the tag for the strikeout. K number 2 for Wilson. That'll bring up Matt Rogelstead. Scores from the National League tonight. Final from Philly. The Mets defeat the Phillies 4-1, each team with 9 hits. Ricky Vitalico, his 2nd win of the year. Todd Worrell is now at 1-2 with the loss. Todd Seal with a couple of big hits in that ballgame, including a home run. Wilson offers up to Rogelstead. It's outside, 1-0. The Cardinals over the Buccos tonight, 8-1 in Pittsburgh. Albert Pujols 5 hits and 3 RBIs in the win. Pitches low to Rogie, 2-0. Jeff Supan picks up win number 5. He's at 5-4. Ryan Vogelsong tagged with the loss at 1-5. 16 home runs now for Albert Pujols. Darrell Ward also went long, the 7th time this year. Called strike on the outside corner to Rogelstead. 2-1. 66ers trailing 4-2 here in the bottom of the 6th. The windup in the pitch is low. 3 balls and 1 strike to Rogie. The Reds defeat the Marlins 7-6 in 10 innings. The Reds got 2 in the top of the 10th. The Fish got 1 in the bottom of the inning. 3-1 offering outside, ball number 4. Wilson has walked 2. Rogelstead is a 1-out base runner. It'll bring up T.J. Bohn. Bohn with a pair of singles and a run scored.
The right fielder, number 20.
Adam Dunn in that ball game had a home run in the 10th inning for the Reds. His 14th of the year, actually had 2 in that ball game. He has 14 now. Ken Griffey Jr. also went long for the 14th time. Danny Graves picking up save number 25. Throw over to first base. Matt Rogelstead back in standing. The Braves defeat the Expos 7-6 as Atlanta gets back-to-back home runs in the 9th inning to win it. They scored 4 in their last at-bat. Wilson peeking back toward first base, now comes set. The leg kick and the offering on the way to T.J. Bohn in there for a called strike. 0-1. Andrew Jones and J.D. Drew each record home runs. They're 12th and 11th, respectively. Houston 5-3 winners over the Cubbies tonight. Throw over to first base. Again, Matt Backen standing. Jeff Bagwell, Jeff Kent, Moises Alou, Todd Hollingsworth, and Todd Walker all had home runs in that one. Naselli, the winner. Farnsworth, the loser. Octavio Dotel saved number 8. The 0-1 pitch to Bohn is hit the other way into right field. Melgarejo on to make the catch. Rogelstead will retreat back to first base. 2 outs, 1 on. It'll bring up Carlos Arroyo. The Giants and the D-backs are knotted at 5. Arizona has just tied it up in the bottom of the 7th inning. At the end of 5, the Rockies all over the Padres 7-1. Bottom of the 4th inning, Milwaukee, a 1-0 lead on the Dodgers. The Brewers scored in the first inning. Arroyo stands in from the left-handed batter spot. Sixers down 4-2 here in the bottom of the 6th frame. Wilson set, delivers home. Rogelstead a decent lead off of first. In there for a called strike to Arroyo. It was 0 for 2 with a couple of ground outs to the right side. Sixers have managed just 4 hits in this ball game. Wilson's delivery is on the way, and it's upstairs. 1 ball and 1 strike as a righty begins to warm up in the Quakes bullpen down the right field line. 66ers have scored at least 8 runs in each of the last 3 games. Second time this year they've accomplished such a streak. That is Dustin Griffith warming up for the Quakes. Pitch gets through the wickets of the catcher, Budde. Rogelstead will advance to second base. It looked like a pitch that Budde should have handled. Tried to backhand it. That'll be a pass ball. So now Arroyo has a runner in scoring position here. The count 2-1, 2 outs. Arroyo has hit .308 with runners in scoring position this year. And he's 6 for 12 when he's had a runner at second and or third with 2 outs in an inning. Sixers need one here. Rogelstead with a modest lead off of second base. Here's a stretch in the offering, the 2-1. Arroyo will foul it just outside of the Quakes dugout along the first base line. 2-2 the count to Carlos. Sixers have scored 55 runs in their last 7 home games, averaging almost 8 per game, hitting .370 as a team in that time. But they've managed just 4 hits off of Phil Wilson, who does not have the best record or ERA on the year. Arroyo lost one into center field. Willits running on. Should be a can of corn, and it is. So the 66ers can't bring home Matt Rogelstead. No runs, no hits, no errors, and a runner left in scoring position. We have completed 6 here in San Bernardino. Mike Sager returns in a moment to bring you through the rest of the ball game. The Quakes lead the Sixers 4-2. Pardon.
Evening, gentlemen. Can I see some ID, please?
But I'm bald.
So's my 2-month-old son.
But I have dentures, eh?
You should have brushed harder.
Look, I've got my senior citizen's bus pass right here.
I'm afraid that's not a picture ID, sir.
World War I dog tags.
Sorry, soldier.
You can't be too careful about stopping underage drinking. So here's to everyone who checks ID. Thanks to you, teen drinking is down by 47%.
Picture me with President Coolidge.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Community Hospital San Bernardino's dedicated team of physicians, nurses, and general health care professionals have been serving the local community for nearly 100 years. They provide medical care that's both state-of-the-art and straight from the heart. They're located on Medical Center Drive between Highland and Baseline. Community Hospital San Bernardino, the relief specialists. Information is available at 1-877-CHW-DOCS.
On Justice Talking, we hear policymakers like Secretary of Education Rod Page.
The old way will no longer be tolerated. We demand equity. No child is to be left behind.
And critics get equal time.
NCLB looks to me like another dose of policy pollution instead of a helping hand to my struggling school.
I'm Margot Adler, host of NPR's Justice Talking. Join the debate.
Sunday afternoons at 2 on KVCR, San Bernardino.
Well, one bad inning might cost Felix Hernandez a loss tonight. He gave up 4 runs, 5 hits in the third inning, but then from the fourth through the sixth allowed just 2 hits. And of his 7 strikeouts tonight, Felix picked up 5 of those in the last 3 innings, but he is done for the night. Right-hander David Bohn will take over for Hernandez here and work to the heart of the Rancho order. Tim Salmon, Mike Napoli, and then David Gates. 4 runs, 8 hits, an error for the Quakes, 2 runs, 4 hits, and an error for Inland Empire. Felix Hernandez had 3 walks tonight and struck out 7. Tim Salmon, a couple of strikeouts and drew a third-inning walk tonight, came in to score. His first game of a rehabilitation assignment. We do not know if he is going to play in the game tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow is an 11 a.m. start, the final day game of the year. Salmon hits a pitch just foul down the left field line. No balls, 1 strike. Jim grew up in Phoenix and stayed home to go to school. He went to Grand Canyon University. He had been an 18th round pick of the Atlanta Braves back in 1986. Had great numbers his first 2 years in college. By 1989, his 6'3" frame had filled out enough. Everyone figured he'd be a number 1 draft pick. Next one from Bohn is in the dirt, 1 ball and a strike. But as Salmon said, he started to play head games with himself and started expecting too much out of himself. Even after hitting .356 with 19 home runs in college, he said that he felt he didn't have a very good year. He pulls it on the ground to third, Guzman over to get it, fires to Nelson for the out. 1 away here in the Rancho 7th for Mike Napoli. Napoli, a pair of singles, and with his second hit tonight, drove in his 60th run of the year. Most in professional baseball this year. No minor leaguer, no major leaguer has driven in as many. Felix finally got him his last time up in the 5th inning when he struck him out. Napoli had reached base safely, 7 straight plate appearances in the series before he went down on strikes. Bohn staring in to get a sign from Rivera, and the first pitch to Napoli upstairs. David pitched the other night and did not have a good outing against the Mavericks. He allowed 5 runs, 4 hits to 6 batters, walked 1, and only recorded 1 out. Next one is outside to Napoli, 2-0. And in fact, in his last 3 games, Bohn's earned run average is 16.63, and he has allowed a .435 batting average. Napoli, a ground ball to the left side. Gonzalez over to get it. Juan throws low, and Nelson can't dig it out. Gonzo really didn't get a lot on the throw. We will see how they score it. Well, it's going to be a base hit for Napoli, so that would give him 7 in the 2 games in the series. All singles tonight. Runner aboard for the Quakes, and the batter will be David Gates. Again, in case you missed the announcement at the start of the game tonight, T.A. Fulmer, who was scheduled to start the game here tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning, has moved up to San Antonio because San Antonio's Gustavo Martinez had to go up to Tacoma because of an injury. And San Antonio needed a starter for tomorrow, and it was T.A.'s day to pitch anyway. The pitch to Gates low, 1 ball and no strikes. We are led to believe it will be a temporary move, but what temporary means is really hard to say. So tomorrow, at least as of the start of the game, Darren Brown wasn't really sure who was going to start. Gates hits a high drive into right. Back on it goes Bohn. TJ on the track will put it away. Napoli back to first, out number 2 here in the 7th inning. And the batter will be the third baseman, Greg Porter. Former San Bernardino shortstop Ruben Castillo, who is now a pitcher, is supposed to arrive in town very shortly, and he will join the team tomorrow. Just recently converted to the mound. Ruben, a great arm, but never really hit for a high average, so they're going to try him out at a new position, and he will become one of the Sixer relievers. First one is inside, almost hit Porter. Greg with an RBI double in the 3rd inning and had an infield hit last time up. is 2 for 3 tonight, started the night hitting .314. Quakes with 9 hits and leading 4-2. Game 2 of a 4-game series. Next one is outside. The Sixers, when they first met the Quakes this year, took 3 out of 4 games at the Epicenter, and then Rancho won 2 out of 3 in the last meeting, also at the Epicenter. They will have one more series here before the end of the first half. There's a line drive into left field base hit. So Porter goes the other way with it. Mike Napoli will stop at second base. The Quakes have 2 on with 2 outs in the inning. And Ryan Budde, who is 1 for 3, will have a chance to add to the lead.
Ryan Budde.
Quakes had 12 hits last night. That means the Sixers have allowed double digits in hits in 4 consecutive games now. Let's see, 22, 37, 53 hits in those games, including tonight. Ryan Budde struck out in his last at-bat. All at-bats against Felix tonight as the curveball is up and in, 1 ball and no strikes. Inland Empire, during this little 3-game winning streak, has come from behind in all 3 games. When the Quakes this past weekend swept that home series from Lake Elsinore, they came from behind in each of the 3. Well, they trailed 2-0 at the end of 2 tonight. Budde fouls it back, and the count 1-1 to him. And then Rancho with 4 runs in the 3rd inning, and Phil Wilson has really shut the door on Inland Empire. He has allowed just 1 hit in the last 4 innings. I think the key for Wilson, and I don't know if he's done for the night or not, they had Dustin Griffith warming up in the top half of the inning, or rather the bottom half. But Wilson tonight getting a lot of first-pitch strikes, and on top of that, his breaking ball was really working well for him. He was able to get it in the zone, got ahead of the count very early. 1-1 to Budde. Beyond bends his waist in half, looks down to Rivera to get a sign. Now a backward glance at second, and a breaking ball is inside to Budde. So Ryan ahead of the count, 2 balls and 1 strike, and if he can extend the inning, he would get to Ranzo Melgarejo. Budde, an all-star last year when he started out in Double-A in the Texas League. Got off to a great start, then he tailed off and wound up getting sent down to the Quakes. Swings at a pitch that appeared to be up and in, fouled it back out of play. 2-2. Last year in mid-April, Ryan with 2 home runs, 6 RBIs in a game against Wichita. He hit .274 with 7 home runs his first full month in Double-A. But when he got sent down, his average had dipped to .213, and he ended up playing the last month of the year with the Quakes. There's a grounder, a 1-hopper to short. Gonzalez feeding Vogelstad at second base to get the force out, 6-4. Quakes are retired. They get 2 hits and wind up leaving a couple. It is stretch time here at Arrowhead Credit Union Park. 6.5 innings in the books, and Rancho Cucamonga holding a 4-2 lead over Inland Empire.
Hello, kind people of the world. It's me again, letting you know about the features of the Verizon Super Pages. You see, the Verizon Super Pages is the only Yellow Pages that's with you wherever you go. The Super Pages is on the Internet. The Super Pages can be downloaded to your cell phone. Other books just sit at home in a dusty drawer weeping like a little girl who just ate too much Halloween candy. Well, I, on the other hand, am Wiley.
Online, on your cell, in the book, the Verizon Super Pages. Wherever you are, there it is. Omnitrans is working hard to provide the public with a level of service that's bigger and better. A listing of their system-wide improvements is in your bus book if you're a current Omnitrans rider or on their website. Omnitrans operates the nation's first gasoline-electric hybrid buses and over 100 buses powered by clean natural gas 7 days a week. Omnitrans will get you to work, school, or wherever life takes you with improved routes and better service. More information is at 800-966-6428 or on the web at omnitrans.org. Be smart, be safe, Omnitrans.
It was another time and another place in American life. It was radio. This is Ed Rothar, inviting you to join me this week as I Remember Radio as we present the bright sounds of Broadway on the Manhattan Merry-Go-Round with songs sung so clearly you can hear every word. That's the Manhattan Merry-Go-Round, Saturday afternoon at 2, and then again Sunday morning at 5, here on KVCR, San Bernardino, Riverside, as I Remember Radio.
Right-hander Phil Wilson tonight, throwing a fine game for the Quakes and flashing signs of what made him a former third-round draft pick in 1999. Wilson, going into his start tonight, had an ERA of 7.79 and had only made one quality start among his 10 this year. And that was back on May the 11th, the last time he picked up a victory when he shut out Visalia for 6 innings. Wilson, in 3 starts since getting that win, had been charged with 14 earned runs in 15 innings. But going well tonight. Here in the bottom of the 7th, he'll pitch to Peachy Ballette, Rene Rivera, and then Juan Gonzalez. The right-hander's first pitch to Peachy is fouled off to the right. Ballette, an RBI single in the 2nd, grounded out in the 4th. You know, you look at a game of baseball, and oftentimes in any given game, you can look to one play, one incident, that you can say was a turning point in a game. Last night we saw it on the fly ball that Melgarejo lost in the lights, turned into a 4-run sixer rally. Wilson misses low, 1-1. And I think maybe tonight could be, if you look back at the first inning, when the Sixers' first 3 hitters reach base, Wilson's pitch is fouled away right side. They had bases loaded, nobody out. They had Wilson on the ropes, and he only allowed 1 run. And for a guy who has been struggling, getting a huge confidence boost that inning, he gave up 1 run in the 2nd, but it has been smooth sailing for him ever since. A 4-run Rancho third have put him up 4-2. Ballette drives it off to the right out of play. Peachy, when he has faced Wilson this year, including tonight, 1 for 5. He has also been hit twice. Ballette, the team leader in that department, he has been hit 8 times this year. Outfield straight away. Wilson on the first base side of the rubber, reaches into the glove, and the 1-2 pitch. Curveball is pulled in the air to left field. David Gates going back to the track, and he'll make the catch. Long fly out to begin the 7th inning. That'll bring up Rene Rivera, who has twice grounded to second, and Rene slumped, now at 5 hits over his last 42 at-bats. Getting a rare night off yesterday. More activity in the Rancho pen, I believe, without looking very closely at it. It is Dustin Griffith, who was up and throwing last frame. The only Sixer hit since the 3rd inning started would have been Bohn's single in the 4th. There's one hit into right center field, hit pretty well. Melgarejo, though, is going to one-hand it on the warning track. So Rivera flies out deep. 2 outs for Juan Gonzalez. Phil Wilson, in his California League career, has a 2-1 record here at Arrowhead Credit Union Park, a 4.79 ERA. He beat San Bernardino in July of 2001 here, 2 runs in 7 innings. He gave up 6 runs, 5 earned in 6 2/3 innings when he lost a game here 2 years ago, and he picked up a win in May of 2002 here, 7 innings, 4 runs. Gonzalez, who is 1 for 3, has a strike on him, 0-1. Gonzo extending his hitting streak to 11 with a first-inning single tonight. And a fastball is outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Quakes getting a good start on the road, something they have not had very often, especially of late. Gonzalez looks at one outside, 2-1. Mentioned it earlier, and we'll say it one more time if you missed it. In their last 10 road games, the Quakes team ERA was about 6.30, and they had lost 9 of their last 10 on the road. Gonzalez takes in the dirt, 3 balls and 1 strike. Quakes losing last night in a wild 8-7 game, snapped a 3-game winning streak. Wilson winds and delivers 3-1. Gonzo hitting it back at third base out of play. Count now 3-2. We're talking about the draft earlier tonight, and I was reading on the Baseball America website today, you know, the Padres have the first overall pick, and the guy that everyone figures will be the first pick. 3-2 to Gonzalez, fisted back at the plate out of play. Long Beach State pitcher Jared Weaver But according to Padre General Manager Kevin Towers today, he said that San Diego is leaning toward Stephen Drew, the junior shortstop out of Florida State, J.D. Drew's brother. The 3-2 pitch to Gonzalez on the hands. Bouncer hit to first. Big kangaroo hop over Napoli's head. The second baseman, Weed, gets it, but his throw to first will be too late. That'll be a base hit for Gonzalez, his second of the night. Took a bad hop on Napoli. Not much he could do about it. That is only the fifth Inland Empire hit tonight. Sixers came in batting .427 in the last 3 games. Well, you knew that wasn't going to keep up. No way you're going to hit anywhere close to that. And they have been brought down to reality a bit tonight by Phil Wilson. Jesus Guzman, who is 0 for 2 with a walk, will climb in to try to extend the inning. Guzman had a 6-game hitting streak snapped here last night, and Wilson gets a high strike over 0-1. Stephen Drew hitting .353 for Florida State with 14 home runs. Of course, his team at the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament, winning it. The strike one pitch to Guzman is a curveball, swung on and missed. That's the pitch that has been working for Wilson tonight. Jared Weaver finally lost a game for Long Beach State on Thursday, got beat by Miami, but he's 14-1 with a 1.68 ERA, 193 strikeouts in under 130 innings. Guzman goes for a pitch in the dirt, gets away from Ryan Budde, who tags him out. Well, now he's going to throw to first. So Guzman fans for the second time tonight. Can you believe that's only the second time this year he has struck out more than once in a game? And in fact, that would be just the third strikeout for Phil Wilson. So a base hit, a runner left. We go to the 8th inning. Inland Empire trails the Quakes by a 4-2 count.
San Bernardino, you could use a change. Is it time for you to change your motor oil and filters? The Public Services Department has free used oil and filter collection containers available to City of San Bernardino residents. Containers are available at City Hall at 300 North D Street. Please bring a valid ID and your current water bill, only one of each per household. Used motor oil may be taken to any certified recycling center in San Bernardino. For a complete listing, the number is 1-888-OIL-DROP. This program is funded by a grant from the California Integrated Waste Management Board.
If your home team is hungry for a mealtime winner, there's Carl Budde. With 9 flavors like smoked turkey, honey ham, and corned beef, they've got taste and variety that won't strike out. Plus, Carl Budde offers the convenience that keeps meal preparation time from going into extra innings. Original Carl Budde is available in 2.5-ounce, 8-ounce, and 1-pound sizes at your local grocer. Carl Budde, a real slice of life.
Hi, it's Lynn Rossetto Casper. This week we meet a chef who was waylaid in Bangkok 15 years ago and went on to write the Bible of Thai food. And you stars, what's up?
Lynn, we're happy to report that the Fritos Thai is alive and well in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
So relieved. Join us, that's the Splendid Table, the show for people who love to eat.
Sunday morning at 10 on KVCR, San Bernardino.
Rancho Cucamonga doubling up the Sixers on the scoreboard 4-2, as well as in the hit column 10-5. Tomorrow, a morning game. We will carry it for you only on the internet, sportsjuice.com. Former number 1 draft pick of the Angels, lefty Joe Saunders, going against a pitcher to be named. We'll find out after the game, but I don't know if we'll find out in time for the post-game show. T.A. Fulmer will make a spot start in San Antonio due to an injury at the AAA level that caused a domino effect. Thursday at 7-11, the final game of the 7-game homestand, right-hander Steve Shell coming off a brilliant start in his last outing over the weekend against the Storm, going up against Ryan Roland Smith. And then a huge series for Inland Empire, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They will go to Lancaster to play the Jethawks, who are right now leading Lake Elsinore 5-2 in the 6th. If the Jethawks win that ball game, it would be their 7th straight win, and if the Sixers lose this game, Lancaster would move into first. Ranzo Melgarejo leads off against Vian in the 8th inning and fouls a pitch away third base side. Ranzo, aboard on an air, has also hit into a double play and struck out tonight. He fanned 3 times in 4 at-bats last night. Bohn gave up 2 hits last inning, but got out of it. And the next one hit right back to David, who knocks it down, picks it up, and then goes high, and he overthrows Nelson. Into the Rancho bullpen. Going to second is Melgarejo, makes a big turn, and he will get back to second without a play. Bohn airmailing the throw, and to overthrow John Nelson, you've got to overthrow it because Big John is 6'5". Bohn, I don't know if he got a bad grip on it or just hurried the throw, but he looked like he had enough time. And that's a doozy. Down by 2, now you've got a guy at second base to begin the inning. That would be the second Inland Empire error of the night. Guzman made one in the second inning. They had made 1 error over their last 3 games. So here's B.J. Weed climbing in from the left side. Has grounded out 3 times tonight. The outfield is shallow and playing him toward right. Shows bunt and fouls it behind the plate. No balls and 1 strike. June the 1st was a big day for the New York Giants back in 1923 because they became the first team in Major League history to score in every single inning. They did it at the Baker Bowl in Philadelphia and beat the Phillies 22-8. Lou Gehrig's consecutive game streak started on this day in 1925, the first of 2,130 in a row. The corners are in. Bohn now goes to second base, not in time. Gonzalez taking the throw. Bill Dietrich of the White Sox no-hit the St. Louis Browns in 1937 on this day. Nolan Ryan threw his 4th career no-hitter in 1975 to tie the record held by Sandy Koufax. Weed hits one in the air to shallow left center field, and it will be Arroyo who comes in front of Gary Harris to get it. So Melgarejo holding on at second base, 1 out. And here's a leadoff hitter, Reggie Willits, who has reached twice on walks tonight. He is 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. Dennis Eckersley in 1977 had a no-hit inning streak end at 22 1/3 innings when he gave up a home run to Seattle's Rupert Jones, and Eckersley fell 2/3 of an inning short of Cy Young's Major League record for consecutive hitless innings. Well, it's left-hander, and the first one from Bohn is on the outside corner, no balls and a strike. Reggie actually a switch hitter, so hitting left-handed against the right-hander Bohn. A .255 hitter from this side of the plate, and about 30 points less from the right side. Quakes up 4-2 in the 8th, and the next pitch is a little bit outside to even things up 1 apiece. 1987 on this day, Phil Niekro got a win over the Tigers, and he and brother Joe passed the Perry brothers for the most combined Major League wins by brothers, Gaylord and Jim. For Phil and Joe, that gave them 530. Bohn double-checking second base where Melgarejo takes his lead, and the next pitch is down and in. 2-1, Erick Aybar on deck. No one throwing in the Sixer pen. The Quakes have a right-hander down in their pen. So we have likely seen the end of Phil Wilson, but he pitched very well tonight. Let's see, that is number 19. That is Rich Thompson. Fastball is outside the Willits, so Bohn now behind 3-1. David reaching down, picking up perhaps a handful of dirt as Willits backs out. The Sixers, 11 games over 500. They've been there a few times, but never more than that. And they're going to have to come from behind if they want a new high water mark. Pitch is outside, ball 4. So the Quakes, thanks to an error and now a walk, have 2 on in the 8th inning for the dangerous Erick Aybar, who has a double in 4 at-bats tonight. Aybar starting the night with a 1-point lead in the Cal League batting race at .356. He now has 70 hits, the first player in the league to get to 70. He had a 4-hit lead over the next 2 closest players, Vince Sinisi of Stockton and Brant Colamarino of Modesto started the day with 65 hits. Aybar hits it on the ground to second. Rogelstadt spins around and goes to second to get a force out. They will not be able to turn 2. Nice play by Matt. So Aybar reaching on the 4-6. And now here comes Ken Salmon. Salmon 0 for 3. He walked earlier tonight and came in to score. Tim Salmon, 35 years old. He'll be 36 in late August. Has had just over 11 years Major League experience. He was the Baseball America Minor League Player of the Year in 1992, Tim spending the majority of the season with the Angels AAA team at the time that was up in Edmonton, and he hit .347. He led all minor league players that year in slugging and extra base hits. He takes one low, 1 ball and no strikes. In college at Grand Canyon University, Salmon set the career home run and RBI records. 1987 through 89, he was there. He was an honorable mention All-American his last 2 years in college. Right-hand batter waiting. There goes Aybar. The pitch is high. Rivera's throw, and now Aybar running back to first. The runner breaking from third, but the tag is applied.
Toyota of Redlands has a line of new 2004 Toyota cars and trucks, as well as certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Toyota of Redlands is part of the local community just like you and believes in personal relationships, and they're open 7 days a week. More information is at 793-0300 or on the web at toyotaofredlands.com.
Which Yellow Pages do more people in San Bernardino County use? The SBC Smart Yellow Pages, of course. They're online at smartpages.com.
If you haven't been listening to Fresh Air, you've missed interviews with such film directors as Sofia Coppola, the Farrelly brothers, and John Waters. I'm Jerry Gross, the host of Fresh Air. Join me for conversations with some of the most interesting people in entertainment and the arts.
Fresh Air, weekday afternoons at 3 on KVCR, San Bernardino, Versailles.
Thank you, Leo. Don't forget, this is the IPT Technical Institute in San Bernardino is a proud partner with your 66ers this season. For the education and work, call IPT Technical Institute at 889-3800, or you can visit their website at www.ipt-tech.edu.
Well, the Quakes leading the Sixers 4-2 as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Great outing for big right-hander Phil Wilson, who would stand to win it. Rich Thompson is going to come into pitch now. The Sixers mounting the comeback last night against the Rancho Cucamonga bullpen, so we'll see if lightning can strike 2 days in a row. Thompson, the young right-hander from Australia. 2002 was his first year. This year, Rich, in 19 games, has 3 saves, a win, and a loss. Allowed a .255 batting average, 16 walks, 30 strikeouts in 27 innings. First man he'll face here in the 6th or 8th inning is Gary Harris. Gary with back-to-back 3-hit games, but tonight he is 0 for 3. And Thompson's first pitch of the inning, Harris takes a fastball on the outside corner. We told you earlier tonight, big reason the Sixers won the last 3 nights is the production they got from the heart of the order. Thompson's next one is inside and low. The 3, 4, and 5 spot had 17 hits and 25 at-bats in the last 3 games. Harris, Nelson, and Rogelstad serving as the 3, 4, and 5 hitters tonight. Are a combined 0 for 7. Little ground ball into center field. Harris hit it just past the pitcher. Gary singles to begin the 8th. Sixers only once have had multiple hits in an inning, and that was the last frame they scored back in the 2nd. Well, you've got a 2-run game and John Nelson coming up, so even though the Sixers haven't done much at the plate, John Nelson, who hit the big 3-run homer last night, that put him ahead 8-6. And here he is again, opportunity knocking. Outfield straight away on John, and Thompson's pitch to him as a breaking ball waved out and missed. His top hand came off the handle. Nelson, if you go back to the beginning of the year and look at what he did his first 2 weeks and then compare that to what he has done since, John in his first 13 games hit .184, with no home runs, and he drove in just 4. Thompson ready and deals outside, takes a big bounce and gets behind Ryan Budde. Wild pitch will send Gary Harris to second, where he'll make a big turn and get back. So that will at least take the Sixers out of a routine double play, and the count to Nelson 1-1. John, in 25 games since that 184 start, has hit .372 with 5 home runs and 23 RBIs. And he has really worn out the Quakes this year. He's 0 for 2 with an RBI tonight. But Nelson against the Quakes this year, 11 for 23, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and 7 RBIs. He has 2 3-hit games and a couple of 2-hit games against the Quakes. Thompson staring in to get a sign. Rich, 6'1", 180 pounds. Looks back at Gary Harris, and the 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed. Off-speed pitch. Actually, it was foul-tipped at the plate. Nonetheless, the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Thompson has no record in 3 games against Inland Empire. He's given up 3 hits coming in and 3 runs in 3 1/3 innings. He pitched a scoreless inning against him on May the 15th in Rancho, the last time he faced him. Nelson ready. Thompson's pitch, little ground ball up the middle. Diving stop by Aybar, who gets up, throws, not in time. Close play, and Nelson beat it out, so they have runners on the corners. Boy, what a nice play, though, by Erick Aybar. He kept the run from scoring. Erick with his hands on his knees as he stands right in front of second base. So the Sixers with a chance here with 2 on to start the 8th. Rogelstad will be coming up. And then T.J. Bohn. Matt, when he has hit with runners on base, has hit right just over 300. A little better than 50 points higher than what he has hit with the bases empty. He had 3 RBIs on Sunday here against High Desert to tie a season high. Porter is up at third, not quite on the grass, and the first one to Rogelstad is fouled back to third out of play. Sixers have 13 come from behind wins this year. When the Quakes have taken a lead into the 8th inning, they have lost 3 games. Stockton and Visalia have each lost 4 such games. That would be the most. Rancho has actually lost a league-high 3 games when they have taken the lead into the 9th, and all 3 of those have come on the road. Well, we're not quite into the 9th inning yet. Thompson will also have to keep an eye on Nelson, who runs well for a big guy, representing the tying run. Rogelstad takes a strike. Now the count 0-2. Our friends at the CID, the Center for Individual Development, want to remind you they offer a Water Babies program for infants ages 6 months to 3 years. The program runs for the month of July, so that'll be starting in a month. Strike 2 pitch. Outside, down to third goes Budde, and they almost picked off Gary Harris. Boy, that would have been an egregious error. Harris barely getting back to third. Not going to cut it any closer than that. I think it was the first series in Rancho. Remember early May, late April, when the Sixers went through that stretch where it seemed like they were getting a runner picked off every night, and I believe it was Ryan Budde who picked off Matt Hagan at third base at the Epicenter. First and third, nobody out. Thompson trying to protect a 2-run lead, fakes to third, looks to first, and Nelson getting back without a throw. Information on that Water Babies program at CID is at 384-5426. Rogelstad hitting over 100 points higher at home this year, and Matt looks at a breaking ball, strike 3. Richard Thompson throws 2 breaking pitches, a tight one, and then a big 12-6 curve. That was more of the loopy curveball, so Rogelstad frozen at the plate. And now you got T.J. Bohn. The Sixers tonight, unlike the last 3 nights, have not done nearly as well when they have had runners on base. We mentioned bases loaded, nobody out in the first inning, and they got just 1 run. That came on a fielder's choice bounce out. T.J. Bohn 2 for 3 tonight, 2 of the 7 sixer hits. And the first pitch to him is a fastball on the inside corner. They had a leadoff single by Bohn in the 4th inning, and then Phil Wilson got 3 straight groundouts. Rogelstadt walked with 1 out in the 6th inning, moved up on a pass ball, but Bohn and Arroyo flied out. Thompson's 0-1, instead he steps off. And here in the 8th inning, back-to-back singles to open the frame by Harris and Nelson, but then Rogelstadt struck out. TJ 0 for 3 last night, has 6 hits on the homestand, and he's way out in front of the next pitch to fall behind 0-2. Going into tonight's game, Bohn's .427 on base percentage, ranked 3rd highest in the league. He was tied for 5th in the league in runs scored, and tied for 3rd in the league with 32 walks. Outfield straight away on him, and Thompson's pitch in the dirt. Check swing by TJ, and evidently he held up. That one was outside. Nice stop by Ryan Budde. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Checking some of the notes off the Major League News Wire today. First off, New York Yankee reliever Steve Karsay pitched 2 innings in an extended spring training game today. He had rotator cuff surgery a year ago, and he wound up giving up 1 run in those 2 innings, gave up 3 hits and struck out 1, made 34 pitches against minor leaguers from the Phillies. All right, Thompson ready to go. 1 and 2, runners on the corners. And the pitch home to Bohn is a little bouncer hit to short. Aybar down to second, 1. The relay to first is high, not in time, so a run does score. 6-4 on the fielder's choice. Gary Harris scores. Nelson is out. 2 outs in the inning, a 1-run game. 4-3 in favor of the Quakes. 6 of the last 7 Inland Empire games have been decided by 1 or 2 runs. They have been involved in 20 one-run games this year. 20 of their first 50 games have been 1-run decisions, and they've won 12 of them. So Carlos Arroyo, who's drawn the collar in 3 at-bats, trying to extend the inning. And he hits the first pitch on the ground to second. Weed has it, makes the short throw to first, and the rally is over. 1 run on 2 hits. 1 runner left on base. We will head to the 9th here at Arrowhead Credit Union Park. It is now the Quakes 4, Inland Empire 3.
Evening, gentlemen. Can I see some ID, please?
But I'm bald.
So's my 2-month-old son.
But I have dentures, eh?
You should have brushed harder.
Look, I've got my senior citizens bus pass right here.
I'm afraid that's not a picture ID, sir.
World War I dog tags.
Sorry, soldier.
You can't be too careful about stopping underage drinking. So here's to everyone who checks ID. Thanks to you, teen drinking is down by 47%.
Picture me with President Coolidge.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The good folks at Center Chevrolet are helping to make this broadcast possible. They're located at 1355 Southeast Street, just south of Rancho Road. Center Chevrolet is family-owned and operated. They have a large inventory of new and used vehicles with a variety of models, colors, styles, and options to choose from. They've been selling and leasing to the same customers for over 50 years. For more information, 909-889-8561, or find them on the web at centerchevrolet.com. Chevy, an American Revolution.
This is Kathleen Taylor, inviting you to join us as we mark the birth anniversary of Marilyn Monroe. That's coming up on the next Word for the Wise.
Tuesday morning at 8:36 on KVCR San Bernardino.
Bohn is throwing 2 shutout innings. The Sixers have gotten to within 1, and Rancho here in the 9th will have Tim Salmon and then Mike Napoli and David Gates, so the big 3. That's who Vion faced when he came in the 7th, and he got Salmon and Gates, gave up a single to Napoli. Tim, a strikeout, actually 2 of them, a walk and a ground out. He scored in the 3rd inning after he walked. All 4 Rancho runs coming in the 3rd inning tonight. So Felix Hernandez really had just 1 bad inning, but so far that has been enough. Again, we don't know if Salmon is going to play tomorrow or not. The early game, we'll have to wait and find out. He hits the first pitch foul behind third. Judging from the fact that he has played the entire game tonight as DH, I would have to say that it's probably obvious his knee is not bothering him like it did when he tried to play in Rancho a couple of weeks ago. Beyond 0-1 to Salmon. Ground ball hit into the hole at short. Gonzalez over to get it. Off-balance throw. Nelson off the bag. The throw gets away. That's going to be scored as an infield single. So Salmon aboard to begin the ninth inning. Sixers have some activity down in their bullpen. I believe that is left-hander. No, that's Melvin Pizarro. I was first going to say Cesar Jimenez. So Pizarro down in the pen. And here comes Napoli, who has 3 singles and an RBI tonight. He has 7 hits, 1 extra base hit, and 2 RBIs in the first 2 games in the series. We're going to have a runner now for Salmon out there at first. Jason Sugden, who came into pinch run in the game last night in the Rancho ninth inning, comes in to run for Salmon here in the ninth. They get a little speed out there, and Salmon can rest the knee on the bases. Napoli drives it off to the right out of play. Talking about the Yankees and Steve Carsey making an appearance in an extended spring training game today. Orlando Hernandez, who's been out because of bursitis in his right shoulder, threw 33 pitches in batting practice today. Evidently it went all right. Next one is on the hands, a little flare into right. T.J. Bohn won't get it, drops in front for a hit. Sugden going to third, a one-hopper that Guzman can't handle. So Bohn threw a rocket to third, and Guzman unable to come up with the one-hopper, and so Sugden safely aboard at third on Mike Napoli's 4th hit of the night. He's got 8 hits in 2 games. Yeah, I think on 3 of his hits tonight he's been jammed. So a great piece of hitting. So now the Sixers in a little bit of trouble trying to stay within a run, but the Quakes have runners on the corners. And the second of their big 2 hitters coming up in David Gates. Gates, a 2-run double back in the 3rd inning, part of a 2-for-4 night tonight. Sixers will play the infield for 2, and Beyond's first pitch to Gates is a high drive hit deep into right. T.J. Bohn going back to the track. He will make the catch. The runner at third, Sugden, will tag and score, so the Quakes get back the run. The Sixers scored in the bottom of the 8th, and they now lead 5-3. So David Gates has knocked in 3 runs tonight, and that would give him 47 RBIs on the year. Normally, if you've got 47 RBIs right now, you'd be the league leader, but Gates happens to play in the same league and on the same team as Mike Napoli, who has driven in 60 this year, including 1 tonight. Napoli holding it first on that flyout. Darren Brown to the mound, and he is now going to make the change with the left-hander Greg Porter coming up. Aaron is going to go to the bullpen and bring Pizarro in. So David Beyond is going to go 2 1/3 innings tonight, charged with 1 run for the moment. And he gave up 4 hits, had a walk, and no strikeouts. We'll take a pitching change break with the Quakes leading 5-3 in the ninth, make it a 90-second timeout. We'll be right back.
Quitting smoking isn't easy. It takes the average smoker several attempts to be successful. Quitting with the right support can make all the difference. With the support of products like Nicorette Gum, Nicoderm CQ Patch, and Commit Lozenge, you have a better chance of success. Nicorette, Nicoderm CQ, and Commit are safe, effective, and FDA approved to help you fight cravings, irritability, and restlessness while you quit. They've helped millions of Americans quit. You can too. Use as directed. Follow dosing schedule. Individual results may vary. Support program improves chances of success. Could your life use some shaken up? Well, Dairy Queen is here to make your sweet tooth sing with the delicious brownie earthquake treat from DQ. It's a rich, moist Oreo fudge brownie mixed with creamy vanilla soft serve and Oreo cookie crumbles, all covered in hot fudge and marshmallow topping. This is one treat that'll make you tremble with anticipation. The brownie earthquake from Dairy Queen, only at participating DQ restaurants. DQ something different. Oreo is a registered trademark of KF Holdings Incorporated.
Some high schoolers graduated in Texas as their parents watched on TV monitors from Baghdad.
I mean, I haven't seen my dad since January. He told me the other day, and he says, I want to do all the crying for you. Don't you cry when you go across that stage. So, we'll have to see.
I'm Steve Inskeep. How life goes on as military parents serve overseas. Tomorrow on Morning Edition from NPR News.
Right here on KVCR, San Bernardino.
Greg Porter facing Pizarro swings and foul tips it into Rivera's glove 0-1. Melvin coming in to face the left-hander with 1 run in, 1 out. And a runner at first for the Quakes here in the ninth. They lead by 2. And the next pitch, off speed, hits the outside corner for a strike, so Porter behind 0-2. Greg Porter, a 3-hit game tonight after fanning in the second. He has doubled in a run and singled twice. 20 multi-hit games this year. This would be the 5th time he has had 3 hits in a game. He has not had more than 3. Came into the game hitting .237 over his last 10 contests. Pizarro's pitch is in the dirt, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Melvin in his last appearance, not a good one. It came against the Mavericks here over the weekend. In 2 innings, he gave up a home run, 4 hits, and 3 runs. The 1-2 to Porter got him swinging. That one down and in a bit, so Porter, feast or famine tonight, 3 hits and 2 strikeouts. That'll bring up Ryan Budde, who's 1 for 4. Pizarro this year, in 13 games, has been charged with 10 earned runs. 9 of those have come in 2 different outings against the High Desert Mavericks. The only other earned run he has been charged with came on May the 8th, when Inland Empire was up in San Jose. This would be his 3rd appearance against the Quakes this year. He got a win on May the 3rd in Rancho. Left-hander out of the stretch deals, but he takes a strike on 1. And then he got a save. When the Sixers beat the Quakes May the 15th, he threw a scoreless inning that night. 2-0 with a 4.03 ERA, the league only hitting .207. Outfield, a little bit to pull on Budde, a right-hander. And the Quakes catcher pops it up by the Rancho dugout, racing over. Nelson catches it, flips over the railing, and then holds on. And Rancho players are going to get there and help push John back to the other side. Boy, that's something you'd see on SportsCenter, and the crowd giving Nelson a nice ovation. He could not hold on to it, but what a great try. You know, the one thing you think about watching Nelson go over the railing like that and hit it at about waist level is the fact that he missed 11 games with that abdominal strain. And you certainly hope hitting the rail that hard with his size doesn't re-aggravate an injury. Looks to be all right, though. Boy, he would have held on to it if not for hitting that railing. He had it in the glove for just a moment. So Pizarro with an 0-2 count on Budde. Napoli held on at first. Melvin looks over there and now comes to the hitter just inside. Didn't miss by much. Ranzo Melgarejo waiting his turn on deck if Ryan Budde can extend the inning. Cincinnati Reds today put infielder Juan Castro on the DL and recalled infielder Felipe Lopez from AAA Louisville. Castro, a strained rib cage muscle. Pizarro back to Budde, who's out in front of it and pops it up on the right side of the infield. Nelson in foul ground makes the catch. So the Quakes retired, but they get an insurance run on 2 hits and leave a runner. We go to the bottom of the ninth with the Sixers trailing Rancho 5-3.
Could your life use some shaken up? Well, Dairy Queen is here to make your sweet tooth sing with the delicious brownie earthquake treat from DQ. It's a rich, moist Oreo fudge brownie mixed with creamy vanilla soft serve and Oreo cookie crumbles, all covered in hot fudge and marshmallow topping. This is one treat that'll make you tremble with anticipation. The brownie earthquake from Dairy Queen, only at participating DQ restaurants. DQ something different. Oreo is a registered trademark of KF Holdings Incorporated.
A recent survey showed more people in San Bernardino County prefer the SBC Smart Yellow Pages. For shopping information, SBC Smart Yellow Pages is the most used Yellow Pages around. The SBC Smart Yellow Pages.
To make money, you have to take risks. Or do you?
It's not for the meek. It's not for the weak. If you can't handle it, you can't be there.
What if mathematics could beat the market?
We were able to build a portfolio
was essentially listless.
The $1 Trillion Bet. Next time on Nova, mind-altering TV.
Wednesday night at 8 on KVCR TV, Channel 24.
Right-hander Von Sturchbach is going to try to shut the lid on Inland Empire tonight. The Sixers trailing the Quakes by a 5-3 score. Rancho, if they hold on to win, it would be their fourth straight come-from-behind win. They lost the game last night, but they had come from behind in sweeping Lake Elsinore in all 3 games of their weekend series. So Thompson goes 1 inning. Phil Wilson, the starter, the pitcher of record, would be the winner. And for Sturchbach, this would be his 10th appearance, and he has done quite a nice job. He's got 4 saves, a win and a loss, and has allowed just 9 hits in 11 innings, 5 walks, and 13 strikeouts, a 1.64 ERA. His last appearance, Saturday night against the Storm, he picked up a save, an inning and 2/3, no runs. Here in the bottom of the 9th inning, Sturchbach will work to Peachy Ballette, Rene Rivera, and then Gonzalez. At last check, Lancaster at Lake Elsinore tonight. They're in the 8th inning with the Jethawks leading 6-3. So that means the 66ers, if they don't rally, and if Lancaster holds on to win that ball game, the Sixers would fall out of first place and trail the Jethawks by a half game. Lancaster trying to win its 7th straight. Ballette 1 for 3 with an RBI, hits a chopper to short. Erick Aybar in to get it, and there's the first out just like that on 1 pitch. That'll bring up Rene Rivera, who's 0 for 3. Sturchbach got a save against Inland Empire May the 16th. He gave up 1 hit in 1 inning. He has been scored upon in 2 of his 9 games, and in only 1 did he give up earned runs. That was a loss in Modesto on May the 19th when he gave up both of his earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. Right-handers are just 3 for 20 against him. Started the year in the Midwest League. Gets a breaking ball into Rivera for a strike, 0-1. Pitched down in Cedar Rapids, and in 9 games did not allow a single run in 13 2/3 innings. Sturchbach from the state of Florida throws a big hook that misses low and inside, 1-1. 9th round draft pick of the Angels last year out of Central Florida, where he played his college ball. Brings the hands over the hat, and the 1-1 to Rivera is a curveball low and outside. Rene checking up. Now ahead 2 balls and 1 strike. Sturchbach was the first University of Central Florida player to be taken in the draft last year. He was the 6th player that the Angels drafted out of that school in history. There's a called strike to Rivera, 2-2. He finished his collegiate career ranked among the all-time school leaders in strikeouts. He was number 6. He was 2nd all-time in appearances. The 2-2 pitch to Rivera, curveball is reached for, hit off the end of the bat to second. B.J. Weed throws him out, 4-3. So the Sixers 1 out away from going down to the Quakes tonight. Inland Empire, when they have scored 3 runs or less, their record is 3-13 this year. Rancho Cucamonga trying to end another streak, leading 5-3. Looking at their numbers, they have lost each of their last 6 road games that have been decided by 1 or 2 runs. So it's all up to Gonzalez, who is 2 for 4. And Juan looks at one outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. 20 of the 23 Rancho wins have come in games when they've scored at least 5 runs. Pitch is in for a strike to Gonzalez. So that'll even the count, 1 ball and a strike. Sturchbach last year, in his final year in college, split time between the starting rotation and the bullpen. Fastball is outside, 2-1. And he ended up going 4-5. He was 12-6 lifetime in his college career. Into the windup, and the 2-1 pitch to Gonzalez is swung on and fouled back. So Juan down to his last strike. Went to Westminster Academy That is a national powerhouse high school. Sturzbach, a two-time All-State selection in the state of Florida. He was 33-2. 2-2 pitch is inside, backing Gonzalez off the plate. I think that's the same school that Alex Rodriguez went to. I have to double-check it, but I'm pretty sure of that. His team won the Florida State High School Championship 5 years ago. 3-2 pitch is swung on and fouled away. That's going to land just to our left. Well, it's the law of averages. The Sixers hitting so well in their previous 3 games, 28 runs and a .427 team average. Brought back down to earth tonight, 3 runs on 7 hits and 1 strike away from losing. Sturzbach with his feet together looks in to get a sign from Ryan Budde. And the 3-2 to Gonzalez is swung on and looped into left center field. That's going to fall for a hit. That's the 3rd hit of the night for Juan Gonzalez. So the Sixers still have a little bit of life. Boy, let's see. Gonzo, that would be the 8th time this year he's had at least 3 hits in a game. He's had 1 4-hit game. He has been on a tear. He now has 20 hits during his 11-game hitting streak. Jesus Guzman, who extended his on-base streak to 20 straight when he walked in the first inning, but Guzman is 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. Struck out most recently in the 7th, and Sturzbach's pitch to him is fouled back. No balls and 1 strike. Guzman hitting .327 when the night started. He will turn 20 years old in about 2 weeks. June the 14th. So, actually, he and Tanner Watson will both celebrate birthdays that same day. Next one in for a strike, so Guzman now down to his last strike. Tonight, just the 2nd time in his 31 games he has fanned more than once in a game. That other time was a 3-strikeout game last Wednesday in Lake Elsinore. Sturzbach's 0-2 pitch. Swung on and looped foul first base side into the upper box seats. Guzman strikes out about 20% of the time, which, especially for a kid his age, is not a bad ratio at all at this level. When he has put the ball in play this year, he is hitting .409. Pretty solid. He's hit in 19 of his last 22 starts. Gonzalez not being held by Napoli at first, and Sturzbach's 0-2 pitch is fouled off behind the plate again. Almost the same spot as the last one, a little bit higher. Tomorrow we've got a morning game, internet only, on sportsjuice.com. Joe Saunders, a left-hander for the Quakes. The Sixers will have a pitcher to be announced. T.A. Fulmer would have started. He's going to make a spot start, at least one of them in San Antonio. The strike 2 pitch to Guzman. Jesus hits one off the hands back to the pitcher. Sturzbach will lob to first, and the ball game is over. 1 hit in the 9th inning for the Sixers, but no magic tonight after rallying from behind last night to win it. Their little 3-game winning streak is over. And pending the outcome of the Lancaster-Lake Elsinore game, the Sixers might well find themselves in 2nd place for the first time in a while. The Jethawks Storm game still showing 6-3 Jethawks in the 8th inning. So the Quakes win it, 5 runs on 12 hits for Rancho. They made 1 error. The Sixers with 3 runs on 8 hits, and they made 2 errors. Phil Wilson with just his 2nd quality start of the year, but he pitched extremely well tonight. The former 3rd-round draft pick wins his 3rd game of the year. He's now 3-4. Felix Hernandez, because of 1 bad inning, winds up taking the loss tonight, and Felix is now 5-3 this year. Sturzbach winds up getting the save, and that would be his 5th of the year. So the Sixers are 31-21. 18-5 at home. They're 3-2 on this 7-game homestand. The Quakes are 24-27 and win for the 11th time in 28 road games, but for only the 2nd time in their last 11 games on the road. So we hope to, if you can, play hooky, or if you got a sick day and want to come out and enjoy the last day game of the year, it'll be here tomorrow at 11. Otherwise, you can log on to your computer and catch it on sportsjuice.com. That'll be an 11 a.m. game. We'll be on the air at about 10:55. Our next radio broadcast will be Thursday night, the final game of the homestand, which will be at 7:11. Steve Shell and Ryan Rowland-Smith are the scheduled starters for that game. 5-3, the Quakes win it to even this four-game series at one apiece, and now we invite you to stay tuned for the post-game show coming right up.
You've been listening to Inland Empire 66ers baseball on KVCR. Today's game has been made possible by Loma Linda University Children's Hospital, the only children's hospital in the Inland Empire. By Toyota of Redlands on West Redlands Boulevard and on the web at toyotaofredlands.com. By Omnitrans, be smart, be safe. By Community Hospital of San Bernardino. And by Center Chevrolet, family-owned and operated in San Bernardino. Don't go away, the 66ers postgame report is coming right up.
Make a difference. Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The good folks at Center Chevrolet are helping to make this broadcast possible. They're located at 1355 Southeast Street, just south of Rancho Road. Center Chevrolet is family-owned and operated. They have a large inventory of new and used vehicles with a variety of models, colors, styles, and options to choose from. They've been selling and leasing to the same customers for over 50 years. For more information, 909-889-8561, or find them on the web at centerchevrolet.com. Chevy, an American Revolution. Fans, you can see some of baseball's brightest and best future stars up close and personal at this year's California League versus Carolina League All-Star Game, June 29th at Arrowhead Credit Union Park. There will be a pregame skills competition that will include the always popular Home Run Derby. Tickets for this year's All-Star Game are available now. The 66ers can provide you with more information at 909-888-9922 or on the web at ie66ers.com. Omnitrans is working hard to provide the public with a level of service that's bigger and better. A listing of their system-wide improvements is in your bus book if you're a current Omnitrans rider or on their website. Omnitrans operates the nation's first gasoline-electric hybrid buses and over 100 buses powered by clean natural gas 7 days a week. Omnitrans will get you to work, school, or wherever life takes you with improved routes and better service. More information is at 800-966-6428 or on the web at omnitrans.org. Be smart, be safe, Omnitrans. A recent survey showed more people in San Bernardino County prefer the SBC Smart Yellow Pages. For shopping information, SBC Smart Yellow Pages is the most used Yellow Pages around. The SBC Smart Yellow Pages.
It's time for the 66ers postgame report on KVCR, featuring interviews, game highlights, and a complete rundown of the scoreboard. Now let's head back out to the ballpark.
Well, after a wild 3 games, Saturday, Sunday, and last night, things kind of returned to normal more or less. The 66ers scoring 28 runs and hitting .427 in their last 3 games. But the pitching staff had allowed 2,300 runs and a .355 batting average against. In fact, the Sixers allowing 39 runs in the last 6 games at home after giving up just 39 in their first 16. So we have more of the baseball score tonight, but the Sixers wind up on the wrong end of a 5-3 decision. And hopefully we will get a final score in that Lancaster-Lake Elsinore game. The Jethawks trying to win their 7 straight. Have led all the way in that game at the Diamond in Lake Elsinore. And the last check, they were leading by 3 runs in the 8th inning, and that is the score we are still getting. So the Sixers, if the Storm does come back and win that game, they would remain a half game up. If Lancaster holds on to win, the 66ers would fall into second place and trail Lancaster by a half game. And remember, after the game here on Thursday against the Quakes, Inland Empire will then head to Lancaster for a big 3-game weekend series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in a ballpark where they had lost all 4 games they played in April. We'll be back with more here on the postgame show in just a moment.
As California continues to grow, so does the important underground infrastructure. Just about anywhere you dig, there could be an underground facility lying in wait. How do you avoid hitting them? The easy way, the legal way, is Dig Alert. It's the one-call notification center that supports all of Southern California. It's a simple process to help and avoid the costly errors of cutting fiber optic cables to the hazard of damaging power lines or gas pipes. For more information before you dig, 1-800-227-2600.
I'm Scott Schaefer, host of the California Report, and I hope you'll join me for our next program. The Golden State often takes center stage in politics, policy, and culture. Each day, our journalists in Sacramento, San Francisco, the Central Valley, and Southern California report and analyze the news. So please join us for the California Report weekday mornings at 6:50 here on KVCR, San Bernardino, Riverside.
Well, Tim Salmon tonight completing 9 innings in a rehab assignment, so that's certainly a lot better for him than the last time when he had to take himself out after 2 at-bats because the knee started acting up. He wound up getting a base hit and came out for a pinch runner in the 9th inning. He also walked and scored tonight. In all total, he had 5 plate appearances. Salmon, our post-game guest, will go down and hear what the Angel Slugger has to say with Wags.
Thanks a lot, Segs. Tim, how are you feeling right now after the effort tonight?
Well, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I mean, just the fact that, I was able to go out there and get 5 at-bats and didn't really feel the pain that I'd felt in the past. And, the night's been a big bonus.
What have you been doing with your couple of weeks since your last rehab start?
Chores around the house, putting up. I mean, really, the rehab's been basically resting it. I mean, I've gone to the doctor a few times and got a few shots and sat in an MRI tube, but other than that, I mean, I haven't really gotten to do too much on the field until the last couple of days, so a little rusty out there, but the biggest thing was I didn't feel the pain.
Is there a timetable yet for your return, or is it just going day by day now?
Well, I think it's day by day. I think, the first hurdle is getting through the pain issues, and the knee issues. I think once you get past that, then it's, where do I feel I'm at as far as my swing and, being able to contribute at that level. I mean, I'm obviously, I got some work to do, as far as timing and getting a swing under me. But, hopefully, next maybe 2 or 3 days I can get it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Tim Salmon. Back up to you, Zach.
All righty. So, Salmon, we'll see if he's back out here tomorrow morning or not, or Thursday night. I would assume that if he did take tomorrow off, there's a pretty good chance he might be back here on Thursday. We'll come back to recap tonight's game when we continue with more from San Bernardino in just a moment.
Baseball players aren't the only people who rely on a good night's sleep to maintain peak performance. We all do. That's why the right mattress is vital when you're shopping for a new bed. Banner Mattress has sold nearly 2 million mattresses since it opened in 1926. Why have so many people relied on Banner Mattress? Because they still make their own beds using old-world craftsmanship that was the philosophy of the company's founder. Banner Mattress has 3 San Bernardino locations on South E Street, Hospitality Lane, and South I Street.
What does democracy sound like? It's the cry of a baby whose grandmother resists being tested for drugs. It's the chatter in a police cruiser where a cop reaches for his Miranda card. It's a tree falling in the woods as advocates debate the future of the forest. I'm Margot Adler, host of NPR's Justice Talking. Tune in to the sound of democracy.
Sunday afternoon at 2 on KVCR, San Bernardino.
Tonight was only the 6th time this year the 66ers lost a game when they were the first team to score. They got a first-inning run, but as I mentioned late in the broadcast, that might have been the turning point of the game, even though it was only the first inning. That's because The first 3 Sixer batters against Bill Wilson got on base. Gonzalez a single, Guzman a walk, Harris aboard on an error, so they had the bases loaded and were poised for a big, big inning. John Nelson reaching on a fielder's choice, 5 unassisted, which brought in Gonzalez, but then Matt Rogelstad hit into a 4-6-3 double play, and so what looked to be a big inning wound up being just a 1-run frame. It was 1-0 going into the second when T.J. Bohn led off with a single. Carlos Arroyo bounced out and moved him up, and that brought up Peachy Ballette, who in the last few games has been swinging a pretty hot stick. Wilson ready, pitches home, and Peachy hits a slow ground ball into left field, base hit. Here comes Bohn around third. David Gates' throw is cut off, and Ballette has knocked one in to make it 2-0 Inland Empire. So Peachy with that base hit is now hit in 7 straight as he extends his season high. That gives him 5 RBIs in his last 3 games. Well, the Quakes busted through in the third inning, the only bad inning that Felix Hernandez had, but the Quakes made him pay for it. A one-out double by Erick Aybar. Tim Salmon walked. Mike Napoli picked up his 60th RBI of the year with a flare single into left field. So Aybar scored on the play, and Salmon wound up going to third on it. David Gates followed with a booming double into right center field to drive in 2 to put the Quakes on top. Greg Porter followed with a double into the right field corner to chase home David Gates. And then after Ryan Budde reached on an infield hit to third, Melgarejo hit into a double play to end the inning. But the Quakes scored 4 runs, and it turned out that that would be plenty for them tonight. It was 4-2 for quite some time, and then the Sixers in the bottom half of the 8th inning got to within a run. Gary Harris, a leadoff hit, moved up on a wild pitch by Richard Thompson. Then Nelson reached on an infield single. Rogelstad struck out. T.J. Bohn reached on a fielder's choice to drive in Harris to make it a 1-run game. But then the Quakes got an insurance run in their half of the ninth. Tim Salmon led off with a single. Jason Sugden came in to run for him. Mike Napoli followed with a base hit to right to put runners on the corners. And David Gates flied out to right field to knock in Sugden. At that point, Darren Brown went to the pen and brought in Melvin Pizarro, who did his job, striking out Greg Porter and getting Ryan Budde to foul out. But Inland Empire tonight, after 3 big nights at the plate, unable to really muster any offense tonight, and they wind up losing to Rancho by the final of 5-3. 5 runs on 12 hits for the Quakes, and they made 1 error. The Sixers 3 runs, 8 hits, and 2 errors. Inland Empire has allowed no fewer than 12 hits over the last 4 ball games, and all 4 here at pitcher-friendly Arrowhead Credit Union Park. Winning pitcher Phil Wilson, 7 innings, the second time this year he's gone 7, just his second quality start of the year, but he threw the ball quite well, allowed just 2 runs in 7 effective frames, got a lot of early strikes, and the breaking ball looked to be working very well for him. Sturzbach picks up his 5th save with a scoreless 9th inning, and Felix Hernandez, who had allowed 2 runs over 12 innings in his last 2 starts, charged with 4 runs in 6 innings tonight, struck out 7. He loses it to go to 5-3. Time of the game was 2 hours and 37 minutes. A Tuesday light crowd out here, 951, the paid attendance. I understand that tomorrow with the school kids coming in for the morning game, they are expecting possibly 3,000, maybe even 3,500 kids out here, so it ought to be a good crowd. Hopefully the weather's a little bit better. It's been pretty hot. The last day game we had was nice, but I remember one we had earlier when it was pretty warm. So Rancho with the victory, staying alive in the race, although the chance is a little bit slim as time is starting to run out. But 2 games to within the 500 mark. The Sixers, meanwhile, dropping to 31-21, and they will either remain a half game up in the South or, in all likelihood, barring a Jethawk collapse, they will end up dropping a half game behind the Jethawks in the standings. We will pause for a moment. Wags will come in to run through the out-of-town scoreboard when we come back after this.
There's a saying in baseball that to play well, you have to look good from head to toe. That's why all Major League and Minor League baseball players wear caps made by New Era Cap Company. Behind every New Era flag is a storied past of passion, integrity, and pride. Passion for detail and excellence, integrity that's reflected in a high-quality cap, and pride for the successes and relationships born from passion and integrity. More information on New Era caps can be found at neweracap.com. New Era Cap Company. It's not a cap, it's a flag.
Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries is a proud supporter of 66ers baseball. Lazy Boy has locations in San Bernardino, Riverside, Hemet, and Ontario Mills. Lazy Boy has been a part of America's home since the late 1920s. Lazy Boy's furniture stands the test of time thanks to quality materials, extensive engineering, and rigorous testing. They're committed to building only the quality furniture and back every piece with their word. Lazy Boy. They make rooms that make homes.
Final score here tonight from San Bernardino. The Rancho Cucamonga Quakes defeat the Sixers 5-3. Let's check the Major League scoreboard. The Texas Rangers with a 12-inning victory over the Cleveland Indians 6-5 tonight, as Barajas with 2 home runs for the Rangers in that one. Final score from Comerica Park in Detroit. The Royals 5-3 victors over the Tigers tonight. 21 hits combined for the two teams. Mike Sweeney with a go-ahead single for the Royals in the 12th inning of that one, or rather in the 9th inning, pardon. Jason Grimsley picks up the win. He's now 3-1. The Yankees defeat the Orioles 8-7. The Orioles mounted a comeback in the 9th inning, scoring 4 runs to close within 1, but it was not enough. A combined 27 hits for the O's and the Yankees in that one. Mike Messina moves to 6-4 with the win. Sidney Ponson tagged with the loss. He's now at 3-6. Mariano Rivera saved number 19. Derek Jeter, 2 home runs. He now has 6. Jorge Posada and Hideki Matsui also homered for the Pinstripes. Final score from the Metrodome: the Twins 16, the D-Rays 4. Minnesota 16 runs on 14 hits. The Devil Rays committed 4 errors in that ball game. Silva the winner, Abbott the loser. There were 7 home runs between the two teams. Corey Koski went deep twice in that one. In progress, the Angels leading the Red Sox 7-4. That game is in the bottom of the 7th inning. Kevin Millar with a home run for the Red Sox, his 4th of the year. Top of the 12th inning, the Chicago White Sox and the Oakland A's are all tied up. 4 apiece is the score. Frank Thomas had a home run, number 11 for him. Paul Konerko also had his 11th round tripper. Jermaine Dye with a ding-dong for the A's, number 10 for him. The Blue Jays leading the Mariners at last check 6-5. That game at Safeco Field tonight. They are in the bottom of the 8th inning in that one. Raul Ibanez with a home run for the Mariners, number 11 for him. Over in the National League tonight, a final score from Philadelphia. The Mets defeat the Phillies 4-1, each team with 9 hits in that one. And the Mets scored 3 runs in the top of the 10th inning. Todd Zeile had a home run. He now has 4 on the year. That home run came in the 8th inning. He also had a big hit in the 10th for the Mets. Ricky Vitalico picks up the win. He's at 2-0. The Cardinals defeat the Pirates 8-1. 13 hits in the ball game for the Redbirds. Jeff Zupan picks up the win. He's 5-4. Ryan Vogelsang with the loss at 1-5. Albert Pujols had 5 hits, including his 16th home run. He drove in 3. Darrell Ward went deep tonight for the Buccos to account for their lone run. Another extra inning ball game. The Reds defeat the Marlins 7-6. Two teams combined for 24 hits. The Reds score 2 runs in the top of the 10th inning to take a 7-5 lead. The Marlins got one back in the 10th before the Reds closed it out in that one. Adam Dunn with a home run for the Reds in the 10th inning in that one. He now has 14 on the year. He had 2 tonight. Ken Griffey Jr. also went deep for the 10th time. Danny Graves picked up save, number 25. Elsewhere in the National League tonight, the Braves over the Expos 7-6 as the Braves score 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning on back-to-back home runs. Andrew Jones and J.D. Drew each went deep in that ball game. The Astros over the Cubs 5-3 tonight. Miceli the winner, Farnsworth the loser. He's now 0-3. Octavio Dotel save, number 8. Home runs for Jeff Bagwell, Jeff Kent, Moises Alou, Todd Hollinsworth, and Todd Walker. Jeff Bagwell now has 8, and Alou with 14 round trippers. The Diamondbacks win the game in their final at-bat in the bottom of the 9th inning, a 6-5 victory over the Giants tonight. Final score from Petco Park, the Rockies defeat the Padres 7-1. That is a final score that just came in a few moments ago. The Brew Crew and the Dodgers playing tonight in L.A. That game in the middle of the 9th inning. The Dodgers are coming to bat now, trailing by a score of 4-1. Again, the final here tonight from Arrowhead Credit Union Park. The Quakes 5 and the 66ers 3. Final score tonight in the Cal League. from San Jose. The Giants beat the Stockton Ports 5-1. 6 hits in the ball game for the Ports, 7 for the Giants. With the win, San Jose improves to 28-25. The loss drops Stockton now to 23-29. In the top of the 8th inning up north, the Bakersfield Blaze all over the Visalia Oaks 7-1. 13 hits so far for the Blaze through 7 innings at the plate. A 4-run fourth for Bakersfield put them on top, and they have not looked back. 7-1 leading the Oaks. Bakersfield right now with the worst record in the Cal League at 19-32. The Oaks are above them by 1 place in the North Division at 23-28. Final score from Modesto, the Little A's over the High Desert Mavericks, 9-2. Each team with 10 hits, but the Mavs committed 4 errors. Sauer, the winner, he's at 5-2. Bradley, the loser, at 3-3. A 5-run third inning for the A's in that one. And that is your Cal League scoreboard. With the win, Modesto gains a game on San Jose, now at 33-19, 6.5 games atop the North Division. With the loss, High Desert falls to 20-32. Top of the 8th inning right now, Lancaster leading Lake Elsinore 6-3. 11 hits for the Jethawks, 7 for the Storm. 4 runs in the second inning for Lancaster in that one. They jumped out to a 5-0 lead before Elsinore finally put 2 on the board. They stand now 6-3. Lancaster on top in the top of the 8th. If the Jethawks hold on to win that ball game, they will jump ahead of the 66ers in the South Division. If Lake Elsinore, who has lost 5 in a row, can come back, they will. The 66ers will retain their hold on first place, but the Jethawks have won 6 in a row. A very odd story coming out of Los Angeles tonight. As I mentioned a moment ago, the Dodgers still in progress against the Brewers. Milton Bradley was ejected in that ball game. He came up to the plate and got in an argument with the home plate umpire, was immediately ejected in the middle of that ball game. He wound up heading back to the dugout and tossed a litany of objects onto the playing surface, including a ball bag and numerous other things. Jim Tracy was ejected by Cowboy Joe West shortly thereafter. Joe West making that controversial bunt or ball call in that series. So they're having problems right now, and Milton Bradley possibly facing a suspension for his actions tonight. Milwaukee and the Dodgers once again still in progress. Again, the final score here from Arrowhead Credit Union Park, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes 5 and the Inland Empire 66ers 3. Mike Sager returns in a moment to wrap things up from the ballpark.
Community Hospital of San Bernardino's dedicated team of physicians, nurses, and general health care professionals have been serving the local community for nearly 100 years. They provide medical care that's both state-of-the-art and straight from the heart. They're located on Medical Center Drive between Highland and Baseline. Community Hospital of San Bernardino, the relief specialist. Information is available at 1-877-CHW-DOCS.
At Loma Linda University Children's Hospital, they're totally committed to providing your child with the most advanced care available. They're the only children's hospital in the Inland Empire. From cuts and broken bones to cardiac care and transplants, the medical staff at Loma Linda University Children's Hospital attends to each child with love, concern, and personal attention. More information is at 800-825-KIDS. Loma Linda University Children's Hospital.
Well, we will be back out here bright and early tomorrow with a morning game. It'll be the last day game of the year here in San Bernardino, an 11 a.m. start. And the Sixers, because T.A. Fulmer had to go to San Antonio to make at least one spot start, so we don't know exactly who is going to be the starting pitcher tomorrow. Darren Brown non-committal on it, so we will probably find out about the same time you do. We will hit the Internet tomorrow at about 5 minutes to 11. No radio tomorrow. We'll be back on radio and Internet for the final game of the homestand Thursday, and that will be back to the regular 7-11 starting time. We do know it will be left-hander Jill Saunders pitching for the Quakes tomorrow. The former Angel #1 draft pick is 4-5, and he will make his 11th start of the season. So until then, this is Mike Sager speaking for Mike Wagenheim, saying so long and wishing you a good Tuesday night from Arrowhead Credit Union Park, where tonight Rancho Cucamonga gets a good start from Phil Wilson and scored just enough runs as they beat the 66ers to end their 3-game winning streak. Quakes win it by the final of 5-3.
That'll do it for this edition of the 66ers postgame report on KBCR. We sure hope you can join us again for all of the excitement of California League baseball with your defending league champs, the Inland Empire 66ers.
If you haven't been listening to Fresh Air, you've missed interviews